The NFL's longest continuous rivalry continues here today as the Green Bay Packers and Detroit Lions meet, a series that began in 1930. And in the NFC Central Division, Green Bay finding themselves at 5-4 for the first time since 1978, tied for second with Chicago behind the Minnesota Vikings. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Zabriskie, and along with Coach Hank Stram, we welcome you to the Silver Dome here in Pontiac, Michigan. These two teams met each other just 2 weeks ago, and Hank, what kind of a factor is that going to be today?
From an artistic standpoint, Steve, I don't think it makes any difference. I really think in the final analysis, however, that the advantage will probably go to the team that lost the game the last time, because it was a very close game, decided in the field goal, plus the fact that they're playing at home. I think definitely the edge in this particular game will be Detroit.
Well, that would put the onus on the Green Bay Packers. Their coach, Lindy Infante, although they won that game, knows that they have to do some things differently and better today.
We got to hope that we're a little bit better at recognizing some of the things that they do. Sanders ran up and down the field on us, especially in the first half. We've got to make sure that we get him corralled and not let him be that major of a factor this time. And then against their defense, last time we made a few errors and turned the ball over a couple of times, and we got to make sure that we don't do that. They're good enough that they don't need any help from us, and we got to make sure that we don't turn the football over in this game to expect to win.
Mistakes are always important, but what else do they have to do, Henry?
All those things are very important, as he mentioned, but I think the other thing that has to be discussed here is the fact that they have to be able to forget what they did last week against the Chicago Bears. And if they can do that, why, they must play with the same emotional level, the same intensity level as they played against the Bears last week.
Well, the Detroit Lions have played with some emotion. They've only won one game, but with the run and shoot, or silver stretch as they call it, a high-risk offense, Wayne Fonts knows that they too need to worry about eliminating mistakes.
We need to stop dropping the ball. We need to stop fumbling, throwing interceptions. We need to make big plays when they have to be made, like other teams make them. I don't think it's a system. We catch a pass and the receiver fumbles the ball. And now if they were in any other system, if they fumble, they fumble. We need to protect the ball better. And the biggest thing is we need to make the big play offensively and defensively.
With the run and shoot, they certainly have the capacity to make the big play. What else do they need to do, Hank?
The big play is always important when you have an opportunity to make that, but I think in conjunction with that same thought, I think they have to have quality ball control. By that I mean I think they have to play keep away against the Green Bay Packers and take as much time off the clock as they possibly can. But in conjunction with that, they have to be able to get points when they do that. If they can do that, well, I think they'll do a good job. And I think in the final analysis, the team that runs the better of the two teams will win this game this afternoon.
The one problem that, of course, the Detroit Lions have to concern themselves with is the fact that they have just not had any great success here at home against Central Division opponents. Only one of the last 15 games have they won. Rookie Chris Jackie will do the kicking off for Green Bay. He's out of the University of Texas at El Paso. 26 is Carl Painter, but in the middle is Mel Gray, number 23, who's second in the NFC in kickoff returns, averaging more than 26 yards per return. Bruce Alexander, a rookie, also back there. It's going to be Gray about 3 yards deep, and he brings it out. Good blocking. Chris Jackie finally brings him down. Carl Bland caught him from behind, and Jackie, the kicker, got in front of him. Another fine return by Mel Gray.
The great thing about this return is the fact that he's very decisive. And Jackie out in front gets a block for him, but he sees the cavity, takes advantage of it very, very quickly. He's got tremendous speed, did a great job for the New Orleans Saints the last few years. This was a great acquisition for the Detroit Lions.
Bruce Alexander with a block and a 57-yard return. So Detroit in business with the silver stretch run and shoot at the 46 of Green Bay. Rodney Peete at quarterback. The rookie from USC firing and incomplete. It was intended for Walter Stanley, the former Packer, but thrown behind him. Rodney just having a terrific year. 4 rookies starting in the offense for Detroit. Now up front, Lomas Brown, the veteran, with Andolsek, Glover, Dallafour, and Sanders, who's starting in the place of the injured Harvey Salem. Barry Sanders, the S-back, or super back, as Wayne Fonts calls him, and then the 4 wide receivers with no tight end, the run and shoot. Richard Johnson in motion on 2nd and 10. Sanders hit right away and gets 2 to the 44 in the grasp of Burnell Bucky Dent. Up front for the Packers defensively, Blaisner, Bob Nelson, and Robert Brown, the front 3. Then the 4 linebackers, John Anderson, the veteran, Brian Noble, Johnny Holland, and Tim Harris, who's one of the best pass rushers around. Mark Lee, Dave Brown, Mark Murphy, and Ken Stills, veteran secondary. 2nd down and 8. Lots of time for Pete. Now he's in trouble. Harris finally gets him. Tim Harris shooting those guns as he drops Pete back at the Detroit 40.
Harris is on the offensive right side. He starts to go inside, and he sees that the quarterback is in trouble, sheds the block, and makes the sack. A great play by Harris. And he's very, very good at that. He's quick, and he's fast, and he's strong, and was able to read it extremely well once Pete got out of the pocket.
He now has 10.5 sacks on the year. So Jim Arnold, 3rd in the NFC in punting, hangs it high. Rookie Jeff Query back at the 6. Knocked down at about the 17. Keith Karpinski and Victor Jones. A 53-yard punt by Arnold and an 11-yard return. Don Makowski, who in his 3 starts against the Lions over the last 2 years is averaging 339 yards passing a game. Rutgers, Moran, Bush, Hallstrom, Vinegrad, who plays in front of the very highly touted rookie, and Ed West, the tight end. Woodside, and now Michael Haddock starting for the injured running back, Brent Fullwood. And this is the first time that not all 11 starters have started a game together this year for Green Bay. Fullwood the only one to miss, and that's today. Woodside, penalty flag goes down on the play at the line of scrimmage as he stumbles forward for a few.
You know, Steve, I talked to Fullwood on the field before the game and asked him how he felt, and he said it's very, very sore. I'm going to try it. I hope I can try it, but I'm not sure.
Offside, number 76, line up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, and is a 1st down.
Ben Drive, the very veteran referee today, Eric Williams, called for lining up in the neutral zone.
And I saw Ben on the field before the game. I said, Ben, try to be more definitive and more emotional and more, make your comments a little stronger. You're a little timid out there.
He gets on that microphone, he leaves no doubt.
I said, you ought to come up there and do the game for it.
Frustrated announcer. 1st down and 5 for the Pack. Take to Woodside, and a quick pass to Perry Kemp, too tall and incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 5. Defensively for the Detroit Lions, their front 3, Eric Williams, Big Jerry Ball, the nose guard, and Kevin Brooks. And then the 4 linebackers for the Lions, Williams, Spielman out of Ohio State, who always comes ready to play, Jones and Jameson. In the secondary for Detroit, it's Taylor, Holmes, White, and Blades, with Alexander and Griffin coming off the bench, and coming off the bench frequently. This is a game where you're going to see extra defensive backs on almost every play because of the way the 2 offenses play. 3rd down, 2nd down, complete to Clint Didier, the tight end, and he fights for the 1st down yardage. Spielman making the initial hit, and it's a 1st down.
I think the first thing here, the important thing is watch the protection that he gets. Makowski back in the pocket, plenty of time to throw the ball. And look at the alley between the defensive people, a beautiful lane to throw the ball to, and he hits Didier right on the hash mark for a nice gain and a 1st down. But again, the key was the fact that he had a great alley to throw the ball right through the lane.
No big arms in the way to block your vision or the football. So it's 1st and 10 Packers at the 28. With protection, complete. Ed West, the other tight end, tripped up by Benny Blades, but it's another Green Bay first down and a gain of 15. Mikowski, Hank, picking up right where he left off against Detroit the last time they played.
Oh yeah, he's got an awful lot of confidence and poise. And you know, kidding, I asked him today on the field before the game, how come you wear number 7? He said, well, I wanted to wear number 1, but they wouldn't let me do that, so I wore number 5 initially, and then they started to squeak about the fact that I was wearing Paul Hornung's number, so I took 7, and that's the way it is.
Well, you know, they ought to retire Hornung's number anyway.
Well, certainly they should.
From the 43 of Green Bay. Woodside finding a hole, picking up about 9 as the Packers continue to move the ball. William White in the secondary and nose tackle Jerry Ball make the stop. Mikowski, I think Hank would like to play Detroit every week, let alone twice in 3 weeks, because he's had phenomenal success against them. Look at these 300-yard games. Half of his career 300-yard games have been against Detroit.
Yeah, that's really incredible, isn't it? It really is. Of course, he's had fantastic games against a lot of people, but the fact that he's had that many great 300 games against Detroit is really unusual.
He may now just be coming into his own as a quarterback. Haddix hit right away. Jerry Ball would not be moved, and Spielman came in to help him out. Jerry Ball, who is a distant cousin of former Lions great Mel Farr, and he and Mel are in business together in the automobile business, which is, I guess, business to be in if you're in Detroit, right, Hank?
I would think so. You can't make money selling cars here, you're in trouble.
Close enough for them to bring the chains on. Once they get it lined up, we'll see if in fact Detroit has another first down, as this has been an impressive drive so far, and it is just enough for a first down. So the Packers keep the drive alive with this play.
Watch Jerry Ball on Bush. He throws Bush aside like a piece of popcorn and comes in and makes the tackle in the hole. A great play by Jerry Ball. He's a snootful, I'll guarantee you that. He's like one of those destruction balls. Knocks down buildings.
You're wrecking. A piece of popcorn just flicked him out of there. 1st and 10. Twin receivers, but now Woodside coming in motion. And Mikowski under pressure. Sack. George Jameson. 2nd sack of the year for Jameson. And a loss of 10.
Jameson, number 58. We'll see him coming from the left side. Back in the pocket. Look at him coming. Nobody touched him. Nobody touched Jameson at all on the play, number 58. And the key always is that, you know, when you can chase the quarterback from the backside, he has to feel the pressure, but he doesn't see the pressure. And that time, I don't think he had any idea that he was that close when he made the sack.
So it's 2nd down and 20. Nico Nogan, Spielman come out. 2 more DBs in for Detroit. Mikowski swinging it to Haddix, who drops it. Haddix had Jimmy Williams right there in front of him and probably wouldn't have gone much farther, but it'll be 3rd down and 20 yards to go.
Safety blitz on the last play, too. Pretty good timing on the blitz also by the safety, James Griffin.
The Silver Dome in Pontiac, Michigan, far from a sellout today, as the Lions at 1-8, even with the excitement they can generate with the silver stretch, their version of the run and shoot, have not been filling up the place. Mikowski can run, and he takes the baseball approach at about the 47 of Detroit. Jimmy Williams and George Jamison there to make sure that he goes down. So it'll be 4th down and about 10. Good job, Hank, that time by the Detroit secondary.
Yes, it's only a 3-man rush that time, and they had a linebacker coming, but the alley was right up the middle. And that's a great thing about, you know, this young quarterback is he recognizes defenses so well, and when he has a chance to take off and run, he's going to do it quickly.
Don Bracken averaging just under 43 yards a punt. Has plenty of time and hits it high and very short. Not a good kick. And it does not get a Green Bay bounce as it is down near the 25. So Walter Stanley didn't have a chance to get it. Johnny Holland downs it. And Detroit will go on offense when we come back. Willie Pete, the backfield coach of the Green Bay Packers. His son is on the other team. Rodney Pete, rookie quarterback for the Detroit Lions. And then 2 weeks ago, it was the first time he had to deal with that.
And talking to Coach Pete, it was interesting. He said, I don't show any animation about what occurs, and when he does play well, I never express a lot of enthusiasm about it because I always expected him to do well. And sometimes when he looks at me in the sideline, I look the other way.
Well, you know, he has to feel a little mixed emotions at times. Rodney on 1st down. And the 27 going long. Oh, just knocked away at the last second by Mark Lee. The pass appeared to be right on the money to Richard Johnson, and Lee at the last second able to knock it away. Good play by Mark Lee.
I think what happened, he held on to the ball just a fraction too long. Had he gotten rid of it a little sooner, it would have been a completed forward pass. He was dancing around back there looking for somebody to throw the ball to, and when he finally spotted him, why, he was a little bit too late with the ball.
Other games underway around the NFL, and we'll be updating you along with the NFL today at halftime all afternoon. Doubleheader day here on CBS. 2nd and 10 from the 27, Sanders. And Green Bay so far doing a fine job of corralling Barry Sanders, who ran for 168 against them last time.
I think the plan is very obvious on the part of the Green Bay Packers, and a wise one, is that they're saying we're going to stop the run, and whatever they want to do with the passing game, we'll let them do that, but we've got to stop the run. And so far they're doing it with a combination of 5 people up front, 6 people up front, counting the linebackers, and it's creating some problems for the Detroit Lions.
Some people may forget that the name of the offense is the run and shoot. And you've got to be able to run the ball, and that's why having a great running back by Sanders, or like Sanders, makes the Lions think they can eventually really turn this thing up a notch. 3rd and 9, and Pete going for it all, and the intended receiver, Richard Johnson, tripped. And if no flag is thrown, Tiger Green and Chuck Cecil were back there covering Johnson, who had a step on him, but they got a little tangled up. Richard Johnson. Mouse Davis, the offensive coordinator and the father of the run and shoot.
The right side of your screen, there you see there's 2 receivers, and there's a little trip there. It looks like he lost his footing. The ball was a little bit long, and the key again that time, the fact he was able to throw the ball like he was, because he had an awful lot of time. No pass rush whatsoever.
So Jim Arnold on to kick again on 4th down and 9. He boomed one over 50 yards last time, and he really hits this high in the air. Jeff Query at the 23. Picks his way to about the 27, and that is all. 7 minutes remaining in the first quarter here in Pontiac. A 48-yard punt by Jim Arnold, and we still have no score. Steve Zabriskie and Hank Stram back with you at the Pontiac Silverdome. No score with 7 minutes to play in the first quarter. And Green Bay now with their 2nd offensive possession. One of the guys that doesn't play for them except on short yardage is the highly paid and highly touted rookie Tony Mandridge. And he has been sitting down on the bench because he's still learning, really, Hank. And Alan Weingrad has been playing well, and Tony's handled it well.
Well, Coach Infante yesterday said, we asked him, it was interesting to listen to him talk about him. He said he's a great investment for the future. He's going to be able to play 10, 12 years, and that's what a #1 draft choice should be able to do.
I Mikowski on first down, completing it to Haddix, and Haddix gets up across the 35. A 9-yard gain on first down, stopped by Victor Jones and Chris Spielman.
Well, that's a kind of a pattern that controls the linebackers. The back stays in the backfield and watches the linebackers get their drops, and then as the linebackers do drop, then he slips underneath, and he was wide open on the play.
So far, Hank, the Packers have had pretty good first down success. Every offense wants to be second and short. On the I formation. Woodside trying to get the first. Gary Ball came flying through there. May have gotten a piece of him. Victor Jones again on the stop.
Eric Williams that time really got good penetration too on the play.
Close enough for a measurement as Ben Greif calls for timeout and for the chains. This is a game that I guess going in, Hank, you'd have to think there'd be a lot of points scored because of the way each of the two offenses have played this year.
You know, it's funny how that works. Every time you think there's going to be a lot of points scored, it reverts to a very good defensive game, and there are not many points scored at all.
Well, it could be that having played each other just 2 weeks ago, the defenses are now a little better prepared.
Well, I think that's the case too, but I don't think you ever get a lot of points in a game unless there are a lot of turnovers. Turnovers are the ones that create the big scores.
Detroit has been about the worst in the league at the turnover ratio. The Packers have been better but not great. From the backside, Mikowski hit. Was his arm in motion? The ball is free, and it is recovered by Detroit. Jimmy Williams appears to have recovered the fumble. And I think it was William White on the blitz who hit Mikowski.
It was, I think, 35. White coming in from the backside. There you see it. And again, Mikowski had no idea that he was coming from that backside. Created the fumble opportunity, and now Detroit has great field position, 1st and 10.
What were you doing, looking in your crystal ball there about the turnovers? We hadn't had one.
Well, this is the thing that, you know, creates the opportunity to score. They have, you know, the fact that they got a turnover is important, but the only really thing that's important is you take advantage of it and you get points after a turnover.
White credited with a sack. It is a fumble, of course, recovered by Jimmy Williams. And I think they're reviewing to see if his arm was in motion. Looked to me, Hank, like his arm was coming back.
It did look like it. He got hit as it was coming back, and it popped right out of there. I think really that's what happened. Look, there he is, he's anchored. He pumps and bringing it back. While he's bringing it back, it was knocked loose. It wasn't. He wasn't trying to throw the ball at all. Well, that should be a fumble.
That has just been confirmed by the replay official, Carl Lepore, that his arm was not moving forward. So it is a fumble, and Rodney Peete in the run and shoot in business at the Green Bay 36. Draw to Sanders. Blaze Winter wrestles him down at about the 33.
The Packers are changing their alignment an awful lot to try to confuse their calls offensively, but anytime they wound up with 5-on-5, talking about the Green Bay Packers, 5 with the linebackers and linemen, 5 on the offensive 5, then of course we can look for the Detroit Lions to run the ball. Anytime there's 6-on-5, then they got to throw the ball, talking about Detroit.
Take what the defense gives you. 2nd down. Peete trying to get it all. Walter Stanley and Mark Lee with another outstanding play. Twice already, Mark Lee has batted balls away.
Here's the angle, and here again, it's not out in front far enough. Not out in front far enough, and as a result, Lee is able to make that great play defensively. But anytime, you know, if you're going to be wrong throwing the ball down the field, you better be wrong long and not short, because they'll be able to bat it down, or in some occasions, they'll be able to make the interception.
Rodney Peete has yet to complete a pass. He's 0 for 4 so far. 4:41 to go in the first quarter, no score. And it is now 3rd down. Richard Johnson on the reverse. Short of the 1st down as he gets it down to about the 27. Mark Murphy, the strong safety, makes the tackle.
It's kind of a change of pace play, in that he goes in motion, then he comes back on a reverse. Look at the defense chase, but there's no blocking downfield at all. None whatsoever. Ken Rutgers was out there to make a block, but he didn't do anything at all, and as a result it was a bad play. I should say Lomas Brown. I'm sorry.
Well,
Number 75.
They call this guy Money because not only is he mostly on the money, but when it comes to kicking the ball in situations where money is on the line, meaning victories, Eddie Murray is about the best. Here, a 45-yarder. The Lions lead 3-0 as Eddie Murray has made 11 of 12 so far this year. What leg drive. 3-0 Detroit with 3:48 to go in the 1st quarter. Last week, Detroit played in the House of Pain against Houston in the Dome. Now, somebody calls this the House of Wayne. Wayne Fonts, the head coach. 3-0 Detroit, Eddie Murray. They kick it off. Carl Bland up the middle and blasted as he crosses the 20. Miko Noga, number 51, down there on special teams to make the tackle on Bland. 3-0 on the 45-yard field goal by Eddie Murray as Detroit leads it here in the 1st quarter. And it was set up by the sack. William White getting on the blitz to Don Mikowski, knocking the ball loose, and Jimmy Williams recovering it for the Lions.
And here the key is, look at Mikowski. It pumps the ball, goes back like he's going to throw the ball, but never delivers the stroke, and is hit from the backside by William White, number 35, and they recover the fumble. And that's created the 3-point opportunity for the Lions.
Michael Haddix, the lone setback on 1st down, and Haddix has the ball. Short yardage to about the 24. Penalty flag is down on the play. Ben Dreith sorts it out. Offsides against Detroit. The 2nd time the Lions have been offsides.
Defense lined up in the neutral zone. Number 59. That's 5 yards, and it's 1st down.
Jimmy Williams, number 59, the bad guy. We're in the Silver Dome here in Pontiac, Michigan, for a series that began in 1930, the NFL's longest continuous rivalry. The Packers and the Lions meeting for the 2nd time this year. 3-0 Detroit with 3:23, and not as many points, Hank, as we thought.
Not yet, but it's a long way from being over.
1st down and 5 following the penalty. Woodside, nope, it's Haddix. And Haddix close to the 30. Again, short yardage.
And look at the way the Detroit Lions are pursuing and gang tackling. They got a lot of people around the ball, and that's a very aggressive, good sign when you're talking about defense.
Spielman and White leading that charge. Earlier we showed you a score of the Los Angeles Rams and the New York Giants with no score in the 1st. We got a little ahead of ourselves. That will be the 2nd game of the doubleheader here on CBS today. It is not quite time for that game to kick off, but you'll see it next here on CBS. Mikowski fires it out into the flat to Woodside, and a good open field tackle by William White, but a 1st down for Green Bay at their 35.
I think Detroit is showing a lot of unusual things defensively too. They are basically a 3-4 team that utilizes a zone a great deal. They're deviating from that plan and personality a little bit this afternoon. They're trying to put more pressure on Mikowski, the quarterback, and I think so far has been very effective.
It doesn't appear, Hank, that they have given Detroit much past about 5 yards with which to work. There hadn't been any deep patterns open at all.
No, the pressure's been good. The coverage has been good.
Haddix, good pursuit from the inside. Spielman And Brooks along with Victor Jones.
And again, the key was really Jamison, number 58, forced it to the inside where he got help from all of his pals. There he is on the outside, takes on the blockers. He made him go inside, and by the time he made the move inside, why, then of course they came in. Kevin Brooks came in 97 and made the tackle.
George Jamison in his 3rd year out of the University of Cincinnati. So it is 2nd down and 10. Intercepted. Picked off by Jimmy Williams. Penalty flag. Eric Williams, number 76, had pressure on Mikowski, and Jimmy Williams, no relation, picked off the errant pass, but let's see what the penalty is.
Offense, pass interference, 86. They decline a penalty. Detroit's ball, 1st down.
Here we see you're the quarterback throwing this ball. This is what he sees going down the field. He gets a little pressure on the outside. He throws the ball without being able to step and throw. He throws behind, and the ball is intercepted by Jimmy Williams, number 59. Unusual for a linebacker to be back there that deep, but he's an unusual linebacker and has good ability and got great depth on the play.
2nd turnover for the Packers. Only the 5th interception thrown by Don Mikowski this year. And Detroit with an injury, number 57, Victor Jones, appears to have an ankle, perhaps, or maybe a foot injury, being attended to on the near sideline.
You know, it's interesting talking about both teams. Both teams have a great attitude about their respective teams. But being in town with Detroit for a couple of days, it was just amazing to talk to the players and the coaches and the high-profile attitude that they expressed about their team. You know, they're 1-8, but after talking to them, if you didn't know what their record was, you'd think they were maybe 8-1. They've got a very strong, positive attitude. They think the future is going to be outstanding for them. They think they're making their move, and they're playing like it with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of animation.
And they like this run-and-shoot offense. Mouse Davis, of course, started it years ago when he was a high school coach, and recently he talked about the run-and-shoot. Mouse started it back in Milwaukee High School in Oregon, and then took it with him to Portland State. Of course, Neil Lomax was his quarterback there, and it's sort of gone through a metamorphosis to get to the NFL.
Yeah, I've always liked him, and of course, I think really this is going to be a wave of the future. I think this offense is going to see a considerable attention, and I think in the 90s we'll see a lot more teams using this kind of an offense in the future.
Especially if the Lions start winning some games with it. Barry Sanders getting outside, still running. Tim Harris finally stops him after a gain of 15, but this little guy, who is very compact at 5'8" and about 205, is some kind of runner.
He's strong, he's quick, he's fast, and has excellent balance. And the other thing is, you know, he's got great vision, and I think the great backs have that kind of vision.
He just didn't give up. Of course, he doesn't give up. That is the first down for Detroit. And we're in the final seconds of the first quarter. Heat under pressure, gets it away and completes it to Johnson. Anderson runs him out of bounds, but Richard Johnson with a 13-yard gain and a first down. Let's go back and look at the play before this. Barry Sanders' running style, Hank.
Well, the great thing about it is he makes good decisions, good vision. Look, they block the linebacker to the outside. They makes a move, goes right back through the traffic of Lee. Lee has a good shot at him, number 22, but he went right through that tackle and got extra yardage on the play. He's got tremendous balance and good strength, great leg strength.
Tremendous thighs. Just really got some pins on him. Pete firing on first down again. completing it as he was cold to begin with and has turned hot now. Jason Phillips makes the reception and Ron Pitts the tackle. And that is the end of the first quarter here in the Silverdome. Detroit leading Green Bay 3-0. Well, there's CBS signs all over the place. Some of them by Green Bay fans. That one's saying crush Barry Sanders. Another one, conquer Barry Sanders. The way Sanders has played this year, you might want to put a couple more letters on there. Conqueror Barry Sanders.
You might give the linebackers a lasso.
Well, they got him hemmed in that time. They formed a human corral. Mark Murphy, the strong safety, was blitzing, and he was right there, and Sanders had nowhere to go.
And that's the one thing that'll disturb the running game if you guess right, and that is by blitzing people to close the gaps and cut him off with the pass.
One thing, though, that Wayne Fonts told us, Hank, is that they welcome the blitz. They think that the blitz is going to benefit the run-and-shoot offense.
That's providing you have the play call.
Yeah, like a pass to the right guy. Not a run up the middle. On third down, Pete completes it to Johnson. He gets away from Green. Touchdown.
Here we see it. He's moving left. Throws the ball very quickly into the flat to Johnson. And Green misses the tackle on the sideline, and he goes into the end zone, changes the scoreboard. They get 6.
And Eddie Murray is on to attempt the extra point. He has a 45-yard field goal already today. Punter Jim Arnold holds, and it is now Detroit leading 10-0. Richard Johnson getting wide open, and when you get those little backs, little receivers one-on-one, they can do some damage. Early in the second quarter, it's Detroit leading Green Bay 10-0. The Packers with 2 turnovers, Hank, and that, as you mentioned in the opening, capitalizing and turning those into points is really the key.
Well, the other key is field position. Green Bay has had to go 78 yards on every one of their drives, and Detroit 51. Big difference.
Carl Bland bringing it back for the Packers up to about the 25. Richard Johnson, who caught the touchdown pass, is only 5'6", and Detroit has a bunch of Smurfs out there, and these guys even wear blue. Look at this. Robert Clark, the tallest at 5'11" of the entire receiving group.
I love that group. They're all a lot shorter than I am. That's why I like them so much. They got shorter legs than my basset hound.
And Richard Johnson, the smallest of the small. Wayne Fonts has said he'd like to have some bigger receivers, but guys that are out there, and none of them are big names, are doing a pretty darn good job. Green Bay 1st and 10. Haddix playing for the injured Brent Fullwood, banging forward on the sweep Chris Spielman with the initial hit.
You know, talking about those receivers, it doesn't make any difference how big they are. The question is how good they are, because it doesn't make any difference. They score a touchdown, they say it doesn't count because you're 5'5" or 5'6". They just put the hands up and it's 6.
They don't ask how, they only ask if. Second down and 7 as Haddix picked up 3. Mikowski to Woodside. Woodside battling for the first down, and he's close. William White and Terry Taylor drag him down, and it'll be very close to the 35. It would appear to be enough for a first down.
Here we see the shot. Mikowski going back into the pocket. Ball up the middle is getting some penetration, but falls. He'd have made a sack, but the ball's thrown right at the receiver in good shape. And Terry Taylor doesn't tackle him low enough, or else he would have prevented him from making the first down. He tackled him high, took a little ride, and as a result, they made the first down.
Right at the 35. Good side. Nowhere to go. Jimmy Williams with the penetration. And William White was blitzing.
And the thing that's happening, I think, because of the way the Green Bay Packers pass block, they use turnout blocking, which means they block away from the tight end, and as a result, they're vulnerable on the tight end side, and as a result, we're seeing White, the free safety, blitz from the backside, and that's why they're having some success with that, because of the scheme of the pass protection of the Green Bay Packers.
Michael Kofer, number 55, is in at linebacker. He's been bothered by shoulder and foot injuries, but he's in there on a passing situation, 2nd down and 11. Mikowski rolling the pocket, throwing behind Haddix, who can get up. But blue jerseys get there in time, and it's only a gain of a yard or two. Spielman, the first one there, along with Taylor.
See, they're changing that alignment to Spielman. Spielman is really a terrific linebacker. Boy, you love to have guys like that on your football team. The attitude that he has is tremendous.
He was telling us yesterday that, you know, he grew up with his father being a coach. They're sorting out.
Offensive holding, number 57. They took the penalty, 2nd down, and a 10-yard penalty.
So Rich Moran called for holding, and that'll move them back inside the 25. But Spielman was telling us that he thinks his intensity comes from the fact, Hank, that he grew up with his father coaching, and his father was kind of an intense guy.
And he said he can't imagine, after he gets through playing, he can't imagine life without football. And I asked him what he wanted to do. He said he wanted to be a coach. I said, what advice did your dad give you about coaching? He said, if you want to make money, stay out of coaching and do something else. But he said, I guarantee you, I'm going to be a coach. And I think he'd be a good one.
He's out of there on the nickel package, something he does not like. Mikowski on the quarterback draw. Hauled down by Ray Crockett. Crockett, a rookie out of Baylor, with the big play.
And there again, blitzing from the outside. And they're not expecting that. They thought they were going to get a lot of zone. Crockett, number 39. This is a quarterback draw play, but look at Crockett fly through the backfield, blitzing from the right side of your screen and making the sack on the quarterback, Mikowski. But he had no idea whatsoever that he was coming from the backside.
There is an injured Detroit Lion down on the field, and so we will take a timeout and return to the Silverdome in just a minute. The story of the game, as it so often is, revolving around turnovers. 2 by Green Bay, and Detroit able to convert them into 2 scores, the Murray field goal and the Pete to Johnson touchdown pass to lead 10-0. And both coaches, Hank, when we talked and had the interviews in the beginning of the broadcast, they both talked about eliminating those mistakes, and here we are, 10 points on turnovers.
Well, football is a game of repetition, and you win and lose each week for the same reasons. And usually turnovers, field position, make the big difference. And in this game so far, it's very obvious when two teams are running a race, one has to run 51 yards and the other one runs 78 yards. You know who's going to win that race.
And Green Bay backed up with a big 3rd and 22 and a completed pass to Aubrey Matthews. William White with a stop. And Matthews short of the 1st down. So it'll be 4th down and about 6 at the 39, and the punting unit is on. Bracken for Green Bay. His first punt went only 19 yards as he shanked it badly.
And his average coming into the game was 42.8, so you know he's a good kicker.
Walter Stanley averaging about 13 yards a punt return. Back to the Lions. This one a good one by Bracken, who hangs it high. Stanley at the 13. Has a hole. Walter Stanley down inside the 10.
First thing, he catches the ball well, right at the numbers. That's where you got to catch it. He danced around a little bit and then saw the seam, and look at him take off very decisively. Made a move to the outside, should have got a block, but he ran right through two would-be tacklers. Great determination by Walter Stanley, fantastic, and takes the ball inside of the 10-yard line for a beautiful return on the play. Walter Stanley.
And John Anderson, the 12-year veteran out of Michigan, finally cut him down. Stanley, of course, a former Green Bay Packer with a 74-yard punt return. And Hank, you talk about field position. Here's the epitome of it. Third and 22 at their own, or inside their own 20, and now the Lions inside their 15.
And you can bet every step of the way he's thinking to himself, I'll show you that you made a mistake by letting me go. And that's usually the mentality of somebody who's been traded to another team.
Yeah, he's had some tough words for Lindy Infante. He didn't think he should have been let go by Green Bay, and he's trying to prove it. He got a good start with that 74-yard return. Sanders on first down. Down to about the 8. Tim Harris and Mark Murphy bring him down.
Sanders coming right at us here. Takes the delay steps of the right guard. Can pull on the play, number 67, Sanders. But he's got terrific quickness. And the great thing about him is when he's in trouble, he doesn't dance around and pussyfoot around. He gets the most out of the play as he possibly can.
He not only runs fast and well, he runs hard. Second down. 5 for first down. Johnson, touchdown. Richard Johnson's second touchdown catch of the day, and the Lions are really capitalizing on field position as well as turnovers.
See, they're blitzing on the play. There's nobody inside to pick up the halfback in the flat, the receiver in the flat, Johnson, and he makes the touchdown. You know, it's Mark Murphy was coming over to try to make the play, but it was too far to go and too late.
I think we're seeing, Hank, what the run and shoot is capable of doing, getting those receivers one-on-one all across the field as Eddie Murray bangs the extra point through, and it is very quickly 17-0 Detroit. Rodney Peete to Richard Johnson for the second time today. Richard Johnson up with others, exhorting the crowd on here in the Silver Dome as the Lions have jumped out 17-0. Carl Bland waits for the kickoff at the 6. He had a hole, but it closed quickly at the 25. John Miller and Toby Caston on the stop. Let's go take another look at the replay of the touchdown.
Well, watch Harris, number 97, is blitzing, but Johnny Holland, number 50, is supposed to cover Johnson in the flat. But watch what he does. He jumps up into the air. While he's jumping up in the air, he can't go to the outside and make that play. And of course, Mark Murphy is coming over to help on the play, and evidently he might have had coverage on the play, but he got there way too late, and it's a touchdown. No way he can make a play on that kind of pattern to the outside.
And the other kind of miscues with fumbles and interceptions, and of course the 74-yard punt return by Stanley, all three leading to scores. First and 10, Green Bay. Mikowski to throw. Over the middle and complete. Carl Bland for a 5-yard gain to the 30, maybe to the 36 before he's knocked back by Spielman and Noga. And Hank, we talked about field position. This tells the story. Green Bay their own 23, and Detroit average is starting at the Green Bay 44.
Well, we talked about that a little bit earlier. You're never going to get a lot of points in any game that's ever played unless there's good field position and a lot of turnovers. We've got the turnovers, and plus the fact the important thing is turnovers are very important, but it's what you do with the turnover. Detroit has taken advantage of every opportunity, and that's why they lead this game 17-0.
Second down, a long 3. Complete. Sterling Sharp has a first down, and he's into Detroit territory at the 47. Bumped out by Terry Taylor and Nico Noga. A 21-yard gain. Sharp's first catch of the day.
And he's a delightful guy to talk to. He's got a great personality. And here he's running a crossing pattern from left to the right. Protection is good. Mikowski steps up into the pocket, and look at the linebacker chasing in hot pursuit. He makes a move to try to set up a block, and then he feels the pressure from the backside, goes up the field, gets knocked out of bounds. Sterling Sharp. An excellent pattern, a good move, and a great delivery by Mikowski because he had plenty of time to throw the ball.
Green Bay in Detroit territory at the 47. Sharp again. First down inside the 35. Jerry Holmes on the tackle. A gain of 14.
I saw Sterling Sharp on the field before the game, and I asked him what pattern does he like to run best. If he had a choice to win a game, what pattern would it be? One-on-one, he said definitely a post flag. Move him to the inside, get the knees turned, and then go back out to the outside. That's what I'd love to do. And he said, I come out here every pre-game, and I go with Dave Brown, work with him one-on-one, and if I can lick him, I can lick anybody.
That's a little superstition that they have. They like to work together before the game. Another Green Bay first down. Play action fake. Mikowski over the middle, complete to Perry Kemp. At the 14 of Detroit. William White on the tackle, and a gain of 19 yards, and Kemp is shaken up.
The big thing is this is a play action fake. Good faking on the play. Holds the linebackers enough. Look at the protection. Plenty of time to step and throw. And there we see Perry Kemp in the middle area right on the hash mark making the catch. But again, the key, the play action pass, holding the linebackers and then throwing in front of the defensive backs and behind the linebackers.
We're in the Silver Dome in Pontiac, Michigan. Steve Zabriskie and Hank Stram bringing you the NFL on CBS. In the NFL's longest continuous rivalry, Detroit leading this one 17-0 with 6:52 to go in the second quarter. Perry Kemp may have just had the wind knocked out of him, but injured on that play. Now being helped up at about the 14 of Detroit. The Packers, Hank, are coming right back. I mean, you know, after you have the turnovers in the punt return, it's easy to, you know, hang your head and lay down, but the Packers have moved the ball well here.
Oh yeah, no, it's very easy if you're not careful, if you're not an exceptional team as far as people are concerned. You want to take two and hit to right and bail out if you're not careful, but this team will never do that. And Fonte's too great a coach, and he's got too good a coaching staff. This team is on the move, and so are the Lions. The Lions are the same way. Wayne Fontes, it's just amazing what reaction you get about him being in this city for a while by the players, by the fans. He's done a terrific job of selling this team that they can win. They haven't won nearly as much as he thought they would, but I think both teams are young teams that are both on the right track.
This is Green Bay's deepest penetration of the day. 1st and 10 at the 14. Complete to Ed West. West maybe for no gain. If he gained a half a yard, he'll be lucky. Jimmy Williams ran him out of bounds.
You know, the Detroit Lions are unusual in that Wayne Fontes was at Tampa when Johnny McKay was the head coach, and they usually use a lot of zone defenses in this area, contrary to what most people do. Most people will play man for man. That time they were in a zone, and they confused Mikowski, I think, and he threw the ball right where they had double coverage.
Of Mikowski's first 11 completions, 8 different receivers have been on the other end of the pass. So he is really spreading the wealth around, and that's part of both teams' philosophy. Williams can't get him, but he gets some help from Eric Williams. Jimmy and Eric, the Williams boys, bring down Mikowski for the loss, the 3rd sack by the Lions.
And Mike Kofor, number 55, is only playing on the nickel package, but he was right there too. They're doing a good job, and I think really and truly they're confusing, as I mentioned earlier, they're confusing the Packers a little bit with the great variety of things they're doing on defense. And I asked McCoskey that before the game. I said, what do you expect defensively? He said, well, they normally play a 3-man line and with 4 linebackers and like to play an awful lot of zone. That's what we expect. But this is not what they're getting here this afternoon, not near as much as they thought.
Packers on this possession are going backwards, at least this series of downs, and now timeout called by Green Bay as they come to the line on 3rd down and about 13. So 5:44 to go in the second quarter. Detroit leading by 17, and the Packers don't want to make a mistake here if they're going to get back in it.
But we see a shot at Woody Woodenhofer, the defensive coach of the Detroit Lions, and he just communicated a signal into the Lions. It'll be interesting to see whether they go after him, whether they drop off and play zone. It looks like it's going to be, now they're changing the alignment.
3rd down and 13. Mikowski under pressure, incomplete. Intended for Sharp. But Michael Kofer, Ray Crockett with the coverage.
And actually what it was just a 4-man rush with Kofer coming, 3 linemen, Kofer coming, 4 means 7 people were back there. And normally in that situation, as I mentioned, you're playing man-for-man defense. He didn't get man-for-man.
So Chris Jackie will come on to attempt a 34-yard field goal. He has made 10 of 13 in his rookie year, the longest 52 yards. And he bangs this one right through there. So the Packers with a good drive coming back after Detroit had taken a 17-point lead with a field goal by Jackie. Now it's 17-3 with about 5.5 to go here in the second quarter. Lindy Infante, Hank, has had a reputation for his sophisticated offense. It's not the run and shoot, but I guess you'd call it a similar offense in the fact that he likes to get a lot of people involved in the offense and throw to a lot of receivers.
Yeah, and he uses the field well. And, you know, the field is 53 1/3 yards wide. He tries to use as much of the field sideways, laterally as he possibly can, and then stretch it vertically. And it's a very sophisticated offense. But I guarantee you, everybody in the league's got a very sophisticated offense. You better be able to read on the run and react on the run and make adjustments. And one of the toughest thing now in professional football with these kind of teams is to be a receiver, because you have to learn so much.
This is Chuck Long, who was just activated this week after having elbow surgery back in February to his throwing elbow. In doing so, they released Eric Hipple, who had been here for many years. And Hipple went out in style. He went into Wayne Fonts. He asked to be released. He knew that Long was coming back. And then he gave flowers to all the secretaries in the Lions office and said goodbye. Mel Gray juking his way across the 25 to about the 28 or 9. Well, a battle next weekend on CFA College Football here on CBS as Butkus Award nominee Andre Collins and the Penn State defense will try to stop the Rocket. Raheed Ismail and the high-powered Notre Dame offense. Notre Dame and Penn State next Saturday beginning at 2:30 Eastern right here on CBS. Detroit 1st and 10 from their own 27. They've had the ball 10 minutes longer than Green Bay so far. 17 minutes to 7. Richard Johnson dancing out of bounds in front of Mark Murphy at the 36. Murphy had a concussion, and there was some question whether or not he was going to be all right. But he's the kind of guy, Hank, you have to shoot him to keep him out of the lineup.
Oh, he's going to play. He's going to dance every dance, regardless what the situation is. He's going to dance.
Another good first down gain for the Lions out to the 36, where it'll be 2nd down and 3. Sanders breaking a tackle, cutting it upfield, and getting to the 45 for a first down and then some.
But they were was a situation where they had 6 on 5, a situation where you're not going to run that often, and if you do run, you're going to try to run outside on the fringes, and that's exactly what he read, and he still made yardage on the play. Reading extremely well, looking for a place to go inside, doesn't make it, goes outside, sees a little seam, should have been tackled at the line of scrimmage by Brown, but in spite of that, he's so strong, such strong-legged guy that he goes right through that tackle.
Sanders' 7th carry of the day. Sanders' 8th carry of the day, and Tim Harris can't get a hand on him. Sanders still going, and Harris gets another shot. Scott Stephen also there, number 54. I'll tell you what, he run you ragged, won't he?
Oh, yeah, he's got such quick feet. And this is like the old story. Takes a counter step so the guard can pull. Stops. Harris misses him. But he says, don't worry, he'll come back around the next time. I'll get him on the next round. There he is. Comes back again. And Harris finally makes the tackle. Like a revolving door.
And there's his father, William Sanders. And they have certainly become the pride of Wichita, Kansas. Barry's great career at Oklahoma State, and of course the Heisman Trophy. Richard Johnson again. He has been the main receiver for Rodney Peete today, and he picks up good yardage. It'll be 2nd down and about 2.5 to go. Johnson's 5th catch of the day.
And here's a replay of it again.
3rd down.
And he goes right out into the flat area. There's nobody there again. Nobody on the inside to pick him up. And again, it's like playing catch. They ought to give him a glove and just play catch out there the way the coverage is and have play in a flat area.
Mark Murphy, the safety, seems to have no inside help. And I don't blame Detroit for going back to that as often as they can. He keeps working. Peete incomplete. Again, it was intended for Johnson. Tim Harris with a little pressure, but Peete had plenty of time.
Well, the frustrating thing from a defensive standpoint, a person like Harris who has done such a great job of rushing the passer, he gets rid of the ball so quickly, and right about the time you think you're going to get a sack, you know, the ball's gone.
Look at the shoes of punter Jim Arnold. He and kicker Eddie Murray wear regular soccer shoes with big rubber cleats on them, whereas on artificial turf most players wear what are called turf shoes with very small rubber cleats. Rookie Jeff Query is back, and Arnold booms another one. And it goes out of bounds inside the 10. Inside the 5. Ray Crockett was down there just in case. A 42-yard punt by Arnold.
And the key is, people probably are wondering, why does he wear a cleated shoe? He wears it because there's better traction. He feels on synthetic turf he has a better base with the left foot on the ground, and the same with the place kicker Eddie Murray, and that's why both of them wear the cleated shoe, because of the traction.
The other thing I think too, Hank, is that upper of that shoe, the leather part of it, is much thinner. It gives them a better feel on the ball. 73 for Detroit is Harvey Salem, who is not starting today, and Salem, a mainstay at tackle in his 7th year, bothered by a bad shoulder. So Green Bay in bad field position again, and Mikowski in the end zone, completing it to Ed West for a 1st down at the 19. A 14-yard gain. Jimmy Williams and Chris Spielman make the stop.
That's why Mikowski has grown and developed into such an outstanding quarterback. You know, you have to have an awful lot of confidence in your offense and your quarterback to run this kind of a play. He's in the end zone, play action fake in the end zone. He goes on the outside of the rusher. Look at him, a lot of poise, spots a receiver downfield, hits him. Ed West, the tight end, but really a great play by the quarterback, Mikowski, rolling out, and a good call by Lindy Infante.
Mikowski on 1st down. In and out of the hands of Sharp, who tried to corral it with one hand. 2:01 to go in the half. So one more play before the 2-minute warning. And it'll be 2nd down and 10.
It was tough when you're stuck in the spaghetti sauce down there with bad field position. Hard to get out of there sometimes, but that spaghetti sauce is pretty thick.
Wayne Fonts is upset and had referee Ben Dryfe go over and warn number 75 Ken Rutgers, Green Bay's tackle, who I think they're saying is repeatedly holding. And Ben Dryfe did go over and talk to Rutgers, but there was no penalty call.
He definitely was holding on the play too. I happened to see it.
Sharp can't hold on as he's falling down. The ball comes out. There's Rutgers out of USC. So the 2-minute notification will come at 1 minute and 55 seconds with Detroit leading 17-3. The story of the game so far, Hank, is as you predicted. I mean, the turnovers are the factor, the field position, and then the capitalization on those two things, the difference in the game.
You know, the other thing that's important, the Packers have averaged 16 yards to go on every third down situation. They're 0 for 3. And that's murder. When you come up with third and long consistently, that's a tough way to go.
And here they are, 3rd and 10 at their own 19. 1:55 to go in the first half. Green Bay trailing by 14 from the shotgun. Too tall, picked off, intercepted by Jerry Holmes. Touchdown. Jerry Holmes with his 2nd interception of the year. Mikowski throws his 2nd interception of the day, and it's the 3rd Green Bay turnover.
And that's when you throw. That's what happens when you throw the ball high. It winds up being a tipping drill. That kind of a pass has to be thrown right at the numbers, so in case he does drop it, it goes down instead of up. There you see it. It's tipped. And there you see the defensive back Holmes, 43, catch it in the air just like they're practicing every day, the tipping drill, and he changes the scoreboard and you get another 6.
And Eddie Murray, who has been busy, gets the extra point, and a fight breaks out along the line of scrimmage as the extra point is kicked. A lot of pushing and shoving and grabbing, and the officials jumping right in there to separate the players. Jerry Bell and Tim Harris among them. Brian Noble also. But it's 24-3. Green Bay now down by 3 touchdowns. Jerry Holmes with the turnover for the touchdown. And the Lions didn't have to convert that one. Holmes says, I'll take care of the turnover and the conversion into a score. And the Lions are having a little different kind of day against Don Mikowski than they ordinarily have. Although he has thrown for 135 so far, the 2 interceptions have really hurt Green Bay.
The only thing is, in this kind of a game, with the personality of this Packer team in the past, there are only 3 plays from being out of this game, not 21 plays, just 3 plays. And so there's a lot of time left in this game. A lot of things could still happen.
Vince Workman takes the kickoff inside the 10 and gets to about the 24. The Lions really playing with emotion. John Miller, rookie safety, down there to make the stop, number 44 out of Michigan State. Probably got a few tickets today.
I would guess.
Turnovers, the story. And Mikowski has to go right back to work after throwing his 2nd interception. The 3 turnovers and the 74-yard punt return by former Packer Walter Stanley leading to all 4 scores.
I used the word forget in the beginning of the show. That's what this Packer team has to do right now. They've got to forget what's happened already. They just got to play like they're capable of playing, get regrouped at halftime. But it's still a long way from being over the way this Packer team can play.
Mikowski sacked at the 15. Jerry Ball. That is the 4th sack for the Lions. Jerry Ball's 5th of the season.
Jerry Ball, number 93, he's big and he's strong and he's quick. Look at the penetration. They wound up almost pushing him right into the quarterback on the play, and he makes the sack. But anytime, you know, that kind of weight gets rolling along, he's hard to stop. And he pushed his way, pushed and shoved right into the quarterback for another sack.
A little little shaken up on the play is Eric Williams, who's still down on one knee. And we want to remind you that this is the first of two here on CBS today, the second game of our doubleheader. Immediately following this one, the New York Giants are in Anaheim to take on the Los Angeles Rams. Rams, of course, are trying to stop that 4-game losing streak, so they'll have to do it against LT and company. Lawrence Taylor and the Giants at LA next here on CBS. And the Giants, of course, at 8-1, leading the pack in the NFC's Eastern Division, and an opportunity to really put a little more stamp on that leadership if they can knock off the Rams, who have been reeling a little bit. Hank, they had such a great start, and it's just been downhill since 5-0.
Yeah, right now they're 5-4, and I guarantee you they are a desperate team. They've got to desperately win this game this afternoon to stay in the race and try to be in the playoffs.
Packers are a little desperate too. They're at their own 16 with a 2nd down and 18. Mikowski on the quarterback draw. Out to about the 26. He gained 10, but he needs a lot more. Michael Kofer, 55, made the stop.
I think the other thing with the kind of pressure Detroit's putting on Green Bay, I think in the second half they have to move the pocket a little bit to change the pace of their passing personality.
Timeout called by Green Bay, stopping the clock with 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining in the half. So we'll bring you up to date on what else is happening in the NFL. So far, look at this one. Miami trailing the Jets 20-3, and there are not a lot of close games so far today.
That's the nice thing about this league. It's very easy to predict what's going to happen.
That's right.
Every week.
Yeah, just when you think you've seen it all, wait a minute.
You know what you ought to do each week? You ought to look at the thing carefully and decide who's going to win, and then go the other way.
Lindy Infante, who has really seen his offense struggle today, and Wayne Fontes has to be hardened. I think, Hank, it's probably not so much a letdown after the Chicago victory by Green Bay as it has been the way the Detroit defense has played today.
Yeah, they have been. They've been very assertive. They've been very strong. They've changed alignments, which is a great compliment to the coaching staff. And I think they kind of disrupted the timing. And here they come again.
On 3rd down, a completion and very close to a 1st down is Sterling Sharp. Jerry Holmes made the stop. And the timeout will be called, I think, for a measurement. With 1:10 remaining in the half. Oh, they did. Green Bay did call the timeout. Or Detroit called the timeout because they're thinking it's not a 1st down and they want to get the ball back. Well, Wayne Fontes went down and played against Jerry Glanville and the Houston Oilers in the House of Pain last week. And you know, Glanville took over the Oilers, Hank, about 3 years ago when they were struggling. And Glanville was nice enough after the fact to write a letter to Wayne Fontes about that game and his situation right now.
It was a very nice letter stating that you know, this Lions team is much better than the Lions teams in the past have been. This Lions team has tremendous pride, poise, character, hustle. Talked about when he took over 3 years ago, they were 1-8, struggling, and he felt that we were going through the same growing pains that he did. And I think he has a lot of class for doing that.
You know, that was nice, very nice of Jerry Glanville. But when I was coaching, anytime I got any kind of a package from another coach, I always soaked it first before I opened.
Did you have a designated package opener?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's what happens when you're 8-1. You were winning. When you're 1-8, they wouldn't try to get rid of you. Packers go for it on 4th down and about 6 inches. Mikowski trying to sneak through. It didn't look like he made much progress at all. James Griffin right through there from the secondary. Mikowski tried to jump and he couldn't even get off the ground. They're going to measure again.
Had no push whatsoever, none whatsoever. And then Jamie Griffin, number 34, comes in there, gives him a little shot while he's going down. But it didn't look like he got the necessary yardage. Awful close. Let's see how they mark it.
first down. Wayne Fonts is unhappy, and
it didn't look like that from up there, did it?
I have to agree with him, Hank. I don't see where Mikowski even got in front of his own center.
And plus the fact that he was straight up in the air, it didn't get any kind of a lean, and so that looked like it was going to be a tough call.
Well, it's all in where they spot the ball. And they spotted it in such a way that it is a first down. 41 seconds remaining. Juggling catch by Aubrey Matthews, and he does not get out of bounds. The Packers calling timeout right away, and it'll be their last timeout. William White and Jimmy Williams made the stop. 28 seconds to go, and at halftime, stay with us because Brent Nerve will be along with scores and highlights from all around the league, all the latest developments in the NFL on the NFL Today's halftime report. Packers have one more timeout remaining here with 28 seconds left in the half. This is where you really want to try to get something before you go in after you've been dominated so much in the first half. What Don Mikowski's done in the second half, these guys have really done a good job of coming back in most of their games, even when they haven't won. And Mikowski's had much better second halves than first.
Well, the thing you have to remember is that this thing could, the field position and turnover ratio could just flip-flop in the second half. Green Bay could be in a situation where they have good field position. They take advantage of it. They get right back in this contest. So you can't play the funeral march yet.
Mikowski gets it off. Incomplete, intended for Sharp. And again, it was Jerry Holmes who was covering. Mikowski run out of there by Toby Caston, who was pressuring him. So it'll be third down and about 2, but the big number, 21 seconds left on the clock. We're in the Silver Dome in Pontiac, Michigan. Steve Zabriskie and Hank Stram, where field position and turnovers have been the difference in the Detroit Lions leading 24 rather to 3 over Green Bay. A 21-point advantage with 21 seconds left in the half. Johnny Holland, no, I think it's Toby Caston, shaken up, who was pressuring Mikowski and slid out of bounds on the far sideline in pursuit. Shaken up a little bit.
Green Bay is going to have to get a good read on what's been happening in the first half, and they have to realize also, which they do, the field position aspect of it has been vitally important, but they have to make sure they get the pass protection responsibilities down finer than they did in the first half. They'll make those adjustments, and again, as I mentioned, a lot of things can happen. It's still just halfway over so far.
Infante and the coaching staff already thinking about what they're going to have to do as far as adjustments at halftime. Mikowski swings it out and completes it to Herman Fontenot, and Holmes bumps Fontenot out of bounds at about the 46 of Detroit. An 11-yard gain, a first down, and 14 seconds left in half. Fontenot is a guy that Infante told us last night, Hank, he really likes. He had him, of course, at Cleveland, and traded to get him.
Well, he said he liked him so much that in the event they had a problem with the flankers situation, he used him as a flanker. He likes him that much as a receiver, along with being a very fine running back.
Very versatile guy who plays a lot on third down and long yardage. First and 10. Mikowski firing and completing it, but down immediately is Jeff Query, and he does not get out of bounds even though he gets to the 34. So Green Bay using their final timeout, stopping the clock with 6 seconds left. And if they would go to a field goal here, not only would it be a long one, Hank, but it would be I don't know, not enough, I guess, under the circumstances. I mean, they have the option. What do you think they would do here? Kick it or go for another play?
Well, I think, yeah, I really think they're going to kick it. I really think they got to kick it. Even if they get 3 points, at least it's something before the half. They have to try to get 3 points. The other thing that I would consider very strongly, it's very obvious to the defense maybe that you're going to kick the ball. I would consider, if they have a read where they can use an automatic, I would fake the kick and try to make a big play if they're all up on the line of scrimmage, to try to make a big play and get them with a touchdown on a fake kick.
So Bracken will hold at the 42. It'll be a 52-yard attempt. Now, Chris Jackie's already hit a 52-yarder this year. He's got a lot of leg. And he drives it, but it's going to be wide to the right. He had the distance, but missed it to the right, and time has expired here in the first quarter, or first half, I should say. The end of the half with Detroit leading by 21 over Green Bay.
I want everybody to hear an exciting call. The Falcons came away with a last-second victory over Buffalo last Sunday, and the radio call by Larry Munson was almost as exciting as the 50-yard winning field goal by Paul McFadden.
Going to try a long field goal. McFadden, long, long, long. Good, good, good.
Scores, 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 you're all screaming. To the board we go. And the Washington Redskins, how about this team? They can't score. They can't get a touchdown against Dallas at home. They go into Philadelphia, and they take a 10-3 lead. How did they do it? They've even lost Joe Jacoby, dislocated left kneecap. I'll tell you, folks, they have fought back. An angry Redskin team today. And also, they got a terrific catch by Jimmy Johnson on a 4th down play. Doug Williams, some of the rust has been shaken off. This set up a touchdown. About the only bright spot for the Eagles, they changed field goal kickers this week. Steve DeLine of Colorado State is now there, and he kicked a long one to make it 10-3 at the end of the half. Minnesota and Tampa Bay, Vikings lead the NFC Central, and they're dominating Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers are really without much of a defense right now. They haven't got too much help from Broderick Thomas, their first-round draft choice out of Nebraska. And watch here as Tampa Bay turns it over. You can hardly blame the Buccaneer defense for that as Reggie Rutland goes 27 yards. And then it was Wade Wilson.
Wade Wilson, 3rd and 2, Brent. Nice call here, rolling, looking to his left, hitting his tight end, Steve Jordan, for the touchdown.
All right, and of course, the game you're watching, and Green Bay Packer fans don't have to be reminded that they've been a superb team, especially in the 4th quarter behind Don Mikowski, so this one's still to unfold. Chicago and Pittsburgh. This is a team that was upset a week ago up in Green Bay, and they have reacted like you would expect the Mike Ditka team to. Remember, 179 attempts without an interception ended quickly as Stinson picked it up, and that seemed to set the tempo for the first half. And Irv, you know the change of quarterbacks for Chicago, Jimmy Harbaugh, it gives the Bears a running dimension.
Well, you know, he's growing into the job, Brent. You can see the confidence growing from week to week. Here he scrambles upfield for a 9-yard gain, setting up a touchdown.
Well, Dick, you told me that Brad Muster is a pretty good receiver.
Well, he is, and there's some talk about him playing tight end, but you get a guy that big running out of the fullback spot, you know, he can cause you some problems.
Exactly. All right, Denver and Kansas City, and the storyline there, folks, is like the great Christian Okoye. I guess we can call him great on the strength of what he's accomplished this year. Not playing for Kansas City, out with an injured thigh. Buffalo has 3 touchdown passes today from Jim Kelly all over Indianapolis. Jets in Miami, and soon they'll head for overtime tied at 40. Trust me, New England had New Orleans, and the score there is 28-10. They had a power outage in that game. A tree fell on a transformer, lost power, and of course the folks who were watching that game had to be switched elsewhere. But before the power went out, here's what was happening. And Hobie Brenner caught this pass from Bobby Hebert, and it made it 14-0. And it really was easy for the Saints, sir.
Really easy. Good. It's a heads-up play, though. Grogan going upfield has this ball tipped. And Brett Maxey comes down with it and rambles 27 yards for the touchdown. So high balls drill. The defensive backs go through.
All right, and so that's the score of that game at halftime. And we're going to continue after these messages from your local stations.
Steve Zabriskie and Hank Stram back at the Silver Dome in Pontiac, Michigan, where Detroit leads Green Bay 24-3 at halftime. And the story of the game, turnovers and field position. And if you go right back to the beginning of the telecast, Hank, and your comments about the fact that because they just played each other 2 weeks ago, and because you felt that the advantage might go to the team that lost that game, being the Detroit Lions, I guess that's what's happened because they're 3 touchdowns in front.
Well, that's the way it looks right now, but I think this thing is a long way from being over. And as I mentioned a little earlier, you know, this thing could flip-flop where the Green Bay Packers get some good field position. I think when you're trying to get out of the soup, like they were all in the first half, that's murder. And you got to hope for that to happen in the second half. They have to go to field position. They got to play good defensively, get some turnovers, and they can get right back into this game. See, because it's only 3 plays from being out of this contest, and they've been in this situation before, and they can come back and do a good job in the second half.
Well, the turnovers have led to 3 of the 4 Detroit scores. The other one was set up by a Walter Stanley punt return. Here's the second Detroit touchdown, and it was the second TD pass of the day from Rodney Peete to Richard Johnson.
Well, Harris, the linebacker, is blitzing on the outside. Looks like Murphy might have had the coverage on the play, but he couldn't get there in time, and then Johnson goes in and changes the scoreboard and gets a touchdown.
Then another turnover led directly to a touchdown when Jerry Holmes picked off a tipped pass by Mikowski and ran it back 23 yards for the 3rd touchdown for Detroit.
Here again, Mikowski has some pressure, threw the ball a little bit too high. Anytime you throw it high, there's always a chance for the tipping drill to go into effect. That's exactly what happened. He sucks it up there like he got a vacuum sweeper and goes in for the touchdown.
So it's 24-3 as Eddie Murray had a field goal earlier, and Chris Jackie's field goal, the only scoring for Detroit. And CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this message and a word from your local station. The Silver Dome. It is not filled, but if the run and shoot offense, the silver stretch as they call it here in Detroit, can produce points and win ball games, they'll fill up those empty blue seats up there, Hank. They've gotten a little help today from Green Bay's turnovers, and they have turned them into scores.
Well, that's really the key. That's really the key to this game so far. We hate to keep repeating it, but that's really what's happened.
Don Mikowski, who's had so many great games against the Lions, not having a good day today, but boy has he done a job in the second half. Green Bay has really played well in the second half, and they certainly need to do it again today.
This is very important for them to get the ball in good field position and make something happen, get a touchdown, get a field goal, do something. They got to score on this next drive.
Rodney Peete heating up as he will operate the silver stretch. Vince Workman and Carl Bland are back to receive Eddie Murray's kickoff. Workman coming up at about the 15. And again, good coverage by Detroit as they stop him inside the 25. So Mikowski and company to work, down by 21.
Bruce Alexander on the start for Detroit.
And the field position
at their own 24.
has really been the story as well as the turnovers. Green Bay's best has been their own 27. That's also been Detroit's worst field position. This drive will start from just inside the 24. Michael Haddock's the lone setback. Takes a Haddock out here to Woodside, but overthrown too high. Terry Taylor had the coverage. It'll be 2nd and 10.
So you ask yourself, why did he throw the ball so high? The linebacker or the defensive end jumped up, got his hands up. He had to throw over the top. As a result, it was too high. Very simple. But that's not his fault, because he should have enough time to step, throw, follow through, and get rid of the football. Hadn't been able to do that.
And this is why. 4 sacks, 7 hurries. He's had 3 knocked down, 1 was tipped, and 2 have been picked off. So the pressure is really the story that has led to some of those turnovers.
And they have to try to get better protection and try to get up on top of some big plays against this one-on-one coverage on occasion.
Throws underneath the Woodside, who's hit immediately and dropped at the 30 by George Jamison. And it'll be short of the first down yardage by 3 or 4 yards. They'll give him his forward progress to just across the 30.
I think they have to, Green Bay has to be anticipating some variety on 1st and 10. And if they get one-on-one, they've got to take advantage of it. You know, in a game like this one, you get about 10 opportunities to make big plays, and you have to be able to recognize it, respond, and execute, take advantage of those big plays. And if you get 3 of the 10, you get 21 points.
They have a big one here. It is 3rd down. They need to get to the 34. Jeff Query, first down. Run out of bounds in Detroit territory at the 43 by rookie Ray Crockett. A 26-yard gain for the rookie Jeff Query. Query, the first player ever drafted out of Little Millikan College. There have been others to make it to the pros, but he's the first guy to be drafted from that school.
And Query has caught 9 passes on third down situations this year. 7 of those 9 have converted to first down situations. Has done a great job in the third down situations.
Rodney Peete continues to get ready for his shot with his offensive unit. 1st and 10 Packers. Haddix banging into the middle near the 40 for a gain of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7.
I think the other thing is a handicap for Green Bay. I don't think right now with their backfield the way it is, they have much of an opportunity to do anything but go right up the middle. It's tough for them to get outside like they like to get outside, and of course that's a problem too.
Brent Fullwood has really been their only ground offense, averaging 4.5 yards a carry, and his hamstring just not enabling him to play today. So Michael Haddix in there at the running back position. Woodside fake. Mikowski dropped at the 50. Big Jerry Ball at 300 pounds rolls right over Mikowski. And that is the 5th sack of Mikowski today by Detroit.
Jerry Ball on Bush. Look at this. And he's blocked by the inside by Holstrom, but he doesn't stay with him, and he gets the penetration and gets the sack. But he got a shot initially by Blair Bush, and then of course Holstrom, and they can't cut him off as he gets into the gap. And once he gets ahead of steam, forget it, he's gone.
Well, he's like a rolling giant ball at 6'1" and 300. 3rd and long. Over the middle into traffic and complete. Aubrey Matthews with the catch, Jimmy Williams and White with the hit. But it is not enough for the first down, and the punting unit is on. Don Bracken will kick it away and try to get it inside the Detroit 10. Walter Stanley back to receive, standing inside the 10.
The question now is he going to try to kick it out of bounds or kick it up in the air to make him feel the kick, and I'm sure that's what he's going to do.
He punches it high and maybe too far, way too far, as it lands in the end zone on the fly. A 40-yard punt. There's a penalty flag down, however. So Bracken and the others will wait, and we'll see what Ben Dreith sorts out. The line judge is Dick McKenzie, who dropped the flag.
Holding on number 35 after the ball's in the air. Detroit keeps the football with a 10-yard penalty.
So the call goes against White, and so it'll move it back to the 10, where it'll be first down for Detroit. And let's see if we can pick up William White's holding penalty.
And here you see White, and he is holding number 35. He's got a headlock or an arm, some kind of a wrestling hold.
Half Nelson.
Yeah, maybe half Nelson, yeah, or baby Nelson, whatever you want to call it, but that's what he did, and he got caught in the act.
That's another thing that has hurt the Lions. They're the 2nd most penalized team in the NFL. And no matter what kind of offense you run, you hurt it when you get that many penalties. So now, as you said, Hank, field position can change in a hurry, and it's the Lions who are backed up at their own 10.
You're right. Now the defense has to rally around and make them hold them here, make them kick, make something happen where they get good field position, and this whole thing could change. It could flip-flop in a hurry.
Don't forget,
Rodney Peete, who benefited from the turnovers in field position that Detroit enjoyed in the first half, throwing a couple of touchdown passes. A reminder that next Saturday here on CBS Sports, college football, and the Butkus Award nominee Andre Collins and that Penn State defense will try to stop the Notre Dame offense, and of course the Rocket, Rahig Ismail. That'll be next Saturday beginning at 2:30 Eastern time here on CBS.
Who do you like in that one?
I got to go with the Irish. I mean, they just.
You're going to go way out on a limb.
Yeah, I'm going to take a real flyer on this one.
Brave. That's a brave pick.
Why, do you think Penn State can do it?
No.
I mean, they're playing at home.
I asked you before you asked me. That's why.
I find it hard to go against the Irish with the role they were on right now.
Well, they got so much speed and they got so many ways to beat you. You know, they got lightning all over the place.
And that's really a change for them, because in the past they've had slower teams and it's hurt them, and the speed has made all the difference in the world.
Well, that's the one thing that Lou Holtz said when he got there. I got to get more lightning, and he got it.
The Detroit Silver stretch from its own 10, first down. Pete faking one way, going the other way, and overthrowing his intended receiver, Keith McDonald. McDonald's been bothered by a groin injury, and he is limping as he stretched for that ball. Boy, that's how you re-injure those groin muscles.
You know why he threw that ball so high? He released it a little bit too soon, didn't hold it long enough, and it sailed and went right over the top. That's what happened.
So it is second down and 10 as the leaders in that division, Chicago, are shutting out Pittsburgh in the NFC Central Division. Second down and 10. Sanders trying to cut it back. Blaze Winter grabs him and drops him at the line of scrimmage. Except for one run today, Henry, Green Bay has done an excellent job corralling Barry Sanders.
Well, that's what I'm sure that's what their approach was. They came into the game with the idea that they were definitely going to stop the run first, and whatever else would happen. And their plan has been very, very good, except that, you know, the field position has killed them.
Blaze Winter out of Syracuse. And it is third down and about 9.5 yards to go. Miami coming back against the Jets. It's still trailing.
You might see him run the option play here.
Now Pete's going to call timeout. Rodney unsure, and one of the things that Wayne Fontes has told him is don't make a mistake. You especially don't want to make it when you're at your own 10-yard line, third down and 10. Just under 11 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Rodney Peete talking to Mouse Davis and Wayne Fontes, calling timeout with a 3rd and 10. This was just a few minutes ago before Pete went back on the field.
And I think what they're talking about is the possibility of running the option play. If they have 3 receivers on the left side and only 1 on the right side, we might see the option play run to the right side. If they got too many folks over there, they got 2 outside, they won't run it.
They're probably looking for it, and Detroit does have 3 receivers on the left side. So Pete drops back under pressure, and he's going to be hauled down at about the 11-yard line by Tim Harris. Tim Harris likes to say the defense has a roll call to the ball, and he's usually the leader.
Now I think they changed the play in a line of scrimmage, and they go to the outside. Look at this. Tim Harris, number 97. There you see him coming inside the block. Sanders was trying to block him, but he went inside of and around Sanders and made the sack on Pete.
So Jeff Query drops back to about his own 42. Jim Arnold will kick it from about his own goal line. Boy, what a beauty. He booms this one out of there. Query at the 35. To the 49, and Jeff Query, who is the fastest runner on the Green Bay team, brings it back 15 after a 54-yard punt by Jim Arnold. Steve Zabriskie and Hank Stram at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, where the field position has in fact turned. It has been the story of this game, with Detroit leading by 21. The Lions have been having all the fun, but now Green Bay, with their best field position, Hank, are going to start at midfield.
And again, you know, the thing that's important now, there are such basic fundamental things and principles. They just have to take advantage of it and get some points in this drive.
They only have to go half the length of the field this time. After a 54-yard punt by Arnold, Jeff Query brought it back 15 yards. Packers have only managed a field goal. Mikowski under pressure has it tipped and knocked away. Aubrey Matthews couldn't hold on. Terry Taylor got a hand on the ball, and it was William White again coming with the pressure.
William White blitzing from the outside again. They've done that considerably this afternoon, and it's created a problem. They haven't been able to pick him up. He gets a free shot at the quarterback, and he's got good execution, good anticipation. Has gotten off the ball good and got a good rush on the outside. Nobody touches him.
White and Chris Spielman were teammates at Ohio State University just a couple of years ago. Mikowski has a lot more yardage, passes and completions, but Pete's on the team with all the points right now. 2nd and 10. Woodside fighting for yardage, close to a first down, bumped out of bounds by James Griffin. Jimmy Williams also over there.
The linebacker's on the line of scrimmage like he's going to blitz it, and runs Williams, but the ball's thrown short right in front of the defensive back. And again, James Griffin, number 34, right in front of him. He knocks him out of bounds. But it's like a good possession passing play. Close to the first down.
And really, that's all, Hank, that Detroit's given Green Bay today, is that underneath stuff. 3rd and 2. Out pattern and falling down and making the catch on the play for the first down, and a 10-yard gain is Carl Bland. He lost his footing before the ball got there. Is this catching the ball by the seat of your pants? Is that what we call this?
There it is on the outside. He falls, comes back up, and makes the catch. Terry Taylor making the tackle, but I think Taylor thought the play was over and reacted a little bit too late.
1st and 10, Green Bay at the 33.
There goes stop. Ball, William.
Mikowski throws it away. Keith Woodside was running down the near sideline, and he really hadn't even turned on the play when Mikowski threw it out of bounds. But again, Mikowski under pressure.
Okay.
Detroit, not only, Henry, going to have to do something. I mean, Green Bay is going to have to do something about Detroit's defense downfield, where it's been very good, but they've got to pick up the pass blocking.
Well, they got to, they got to give Mikowski a little bit more time to read secondary and third receivers with the pressure they've got, you see.
2nd down and 10. Over the middle and complete to Sharp. Down to about the 22. It's going to be close to a first down. Benny Blades and Ray Crockett stopping him right there.
Now Holmes playing him on the outside, gives him the inside. He just takes it. In a covey of 3 people, the ball is thrown right on the money. And again, the big difference that time, Steve, was the fact that Mikowski had all the time in the world that time to throw the ball. The step, follow through, that's the key. He can't be throwing the ball falling away with a rush like he's got most of the time this afternoon.
And it was enough for a first down at the Detroit 22. Tipped away, intended for Woodside, and Jerry Holmes, who's already picked one off and brought it back for a touchdown, knocked it away.
Watch Jerry Ball, number 93, in the nose of the center. Bush, Hallstrom. They give him a little double dip, and they got 2 guys on him, and it's still hard to keep him from putting pressure on the quarterback. He's a snootful. He's tough.
300 pounds of bowling ball.
He said the other day he felt he was a little bit too heavy, so he lost about 6 pounds.
Right.
Fell a little quicker.
Yeah, in about 4 days he lost about 6 pounds. When you weigh that much, how can you tell when you lose 6 pounds?
I guess he just jumps on a scale and finds out.
We'll be back.
The Detroit line.
8:14 to go in the third. Seventh play of this drive, which started at midfield, and it is 2nd down and 10 for Green Bay. Just outside the Detroit 20. Mikowski trying it again and getting it to Sharp for the first down. Out of bounds inside the 10. Mikowski had Eric Williams in his face, but he got it away for a gain of 13.
Here's a replay of it. Sterling Sharp looking to his left all the way, knew exactly where he had to go to make the first down, and he gets that extra little effort and picks up another 2 or 3 yards on the play, but a well-executed pattern by Sterling Sharp, number 84.
The ball is just inside the 8. It is 1st and goal, the first real touchdown scoring threat the Packers have had today. Woodside looking for a hole. He dropped the football. Did he fall on it? Yes, he did.
Yeah, I think it fell right down below where he was, and he was able to pounce right on it on the play. A lot of times they hit something and the ball bounces around, but that time it just fell right below where he was, and he was able to recover that fumble. And that time they ran where all the folks were too, Steve. It looked like the advantage would have been running to the left side, but they ran right and got stuffed on the play.
At about the 6.5-yard line, 2nd down and goal. Touchdown, Haddix. Michael Haddix with just a little release over the middle for the first Green Bay touchdown of the day.
And Haddix, number 35, watching. He hangs in there, watches for just a second, and then goes on the inside. Linebacker Spielman is trying to cover him on the play, gets there too late, and he goes in for the touchdown. That's a big touchdown for the Green Bay Packers.
Chris Jackie on to attempt the extra point, and it is good. So the Packers come back with a 50-yard drive. Michael Haddix playing for the injured Brent Fullwood, taking the pass over the middle, and with 7:23 to go in the third, Green Bay inches closer, now trailing by 14. This is where field position can be turned into momentum, Hank. Had they not scored, might be a different story.
Well, that's why we talked about it earlier, and they had to get something going, and even though they didn't get a touchdown on that first drive, they wound up with excellent field position. They did move the football, and that gave them the impetus to get the ball back and then get in here and get a touchdown. This thing, you know, as I said at the end of this first half, it's a long way from being over. This team is an outstanding team in the second half.
And this tells the story of the cardiac pack. Against New Orleans, they trailed by 10 in the fourth quarter. They won that game. I mean, they lost that game by 1 point. Against Atlanta, they were down by 15 points starting the fourth quarter. And against the Bears, they won 14-13, trailing by 6 going into the fourth quarter. On all of those wins late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I think what they ought to do, I think they ought to tell the team when they get on the field at the beginning of the game, they're down 15 points.
To make them think it. Mel Gray stays on his feet and squirts out to about the 24. So Gray, who was out a little bit with an injury, Detroit's glad to have him back. Well, a 50-yard scoring drive for the Packers in 9 plays, and Mikowski's 6-yard pass to Haddix doing it. Mikowski 5 of 8 on the drive, so his pattern of being better in the second half so far today at least continues. Took him a little over 2.5 minutes.
Now the defense has to take over again. They got to stuff him here.
And Rodney Peete and the Lions would like nothing more than to move this football down the field and keep possession. Peete chased out of there. Harris after him, but he runs out of bounds with a good gain out across the 30 to the 32. Robert Brown almost got him, but he got away in the backfield.
And that's the important thing about this offense. You have to be able to have good escapability skill, and Peete has that. He felt the pressure and jumped right out of the pocket.
Minnesota leading the division, Central of the NFC leading, and Chicago fighting with them for the lead, also leading in their game, and Detroit tied with the Bears for second, trailing here. 7 minutes to go in the third. He floats one up, and it's picked off by Murphy. Mark Murphy hauled down by Eric Andolsek, and the Packers are right back in business. A 17-yard return of the interception by Mark Murphy, his third of the year.
Rolling out to his left, kind of a semi-roll, almost in the pocket, throws the ball, all arm. You see it flutter, goes right over the top. Murphy makes the interception, goes down the sideline here, and is finally knocked out of bounds.
Mark Murphy, who had a concussion, but as we said earlier, take a lot more than that to keep him off the field. Green Bay now with their best field position to start at the Detroit 35. Haddix on a draw play. First down inside the 25. Benny Blades took him on head on. Benny Blades is no small guy. He's 220 pounds, but Haddix is about 230.
When I saw him yesterday, last night, they came in and had a meal about 9 o'clock last night. Not a meal, but really some hamburgers and the usual things they have before they go to bed at night. And I was surprised to see how big he is. He looks bigger in person than he does with the paraphernalia on.
Well, they moved the ball back to just inside the 25, and now they're going to measure, and it's going to wind up being short of a first down. It looked like Haddix had made further forward progress, so it'll bring up second and inches. Lindy Infante with that ever-present offensive play chart in front of him.
He does a great job of calling plays. He really does. He keeps a lot of poise, knows exactly what he wants to do, and gets it done.
Haddix hitting inside and getting the first down and a couple of more, but a penalty flag goes down on the play.
There again, they were in a double zone that time, and the place to hit, if you can, is the tight end or a back in the middle area, very much like they hit Haddix for the touchdown. That's wide open if they want to throw it again against that double zone.
Defense grabbed a face mask, so it's a 5-yard penalty, and it's a first down.
So that will override the run by Haddix. Tom Barnes, the head linesman, made the call, and the mark-off will move it inside the 20. Let's see if we can pick it up on the left-hand side of the screen.
Straight ahead shot. Uh-oh, there you see it. You see it. He grabs it with the left hand. Grabbed the face mask, and very obvious that's what happened.
And since it was on the run, it is tacked on to the run and not negating the play, so it moves the ball down to the 18.
Tight end would be a good guy to throw the ball to here.
Mikowski's going to run it. And he gets inside the 15 down to the 11. Mikowski's got some fine athletic ability. And one of the things last year that they tried to get him to do was corral it and control it a little bit, not just run all the time.
Well, there you see, Spielman was playing man for man. He was out there, then he had to go back in with the back in the middle area. Mikowski saw it and decisively ran to the outside and ran out of bounds and made a nice gain in the play.
And in this game today, Mikowski is the leading rusher for the Packers with those 28 yards. That shows you how desperate the Green Bay running game has been.
Well, that's it. He's the only one who can get outside.
On second down, Haddix down to the 1. Terry Taylor and George Jamison bring him down.
That's nothing but a vanilla draw play. Very simple. Everybody takes the defensive people where they want to go. They have a nice cavity right up the middle. good faking on the play, and he takes it right on down to about the 1.5-yard line.
It is first down and goal. The Packers are right back down there. Fontenot in motion. Workman, touchdown. Vince is going to keep that ball. His first NFL TD running.
Everybody was going to the inside. The linebacker has to fill that hole. He overran it a little bit. He went right inside of Spielman. That's what happened on the play, and he goes in for the touchdown. That linebacker's got to come right off the tail of the defensive end who's pinching to the inside.
Jackie with the extra point. And the Packers have, in fact, turned field position into points and got the help of a turnover. Workman dropped the ball, but he'd already crossed the line, and he recovered it anyway. It is now Detroit leading 24-17 with less than 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Wayne Fonts looking at a tale of two halves here, as it was all Detroit in the first, and it's been all Green Bay in the second, and it's been similar, Hank, because turnovers in field position.
They got to really get it back, and the way Green Bay is playing now, it's going to be tough. They have to make something happen.
Mel Gray from the 3. Just across the 20 where he's blasted. Well, it was a short scoring drive again for the Green Bay Packers. After the interception, they had to go only 34 yards. All 5 plays were rushing plays. To point up what you felt, Hank, was important, they're running the football. And here's what set it up. Mark Murphy's interception.
And really, you know, his feet were very bad on that throw. He didn't throw it like he should. He didn't bend the right knee, step and throw in the right direction. He was going left through it, had nothing on it whatsoever.
So Detroit now needing to maintain possession of the ball. And Pete, under pressure, gets away, but not for long. Hammered to the ground by Scott Stevens. And Bob Nelson ran him out of the pocket initially. That is the second sack of Rodney Peete by the Packers.
Now again, he's trying to go to his right a little bit, doesn't get over there very far at all. Gets penetration into the backfield, spun away.
Nelson came up with a towel.
Yeah.
He wasn't too happy about that.
Yeah, he was going to grab something. He grabbed the towel, and it came loose.
Detroit with just 8 yards of total offense so far this half. And we have just about 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Sanders has some blockers, but still can't get outside. Mark Lee running him out of bounds after a short gain. After Sanders' 168-yard day against Detroit 2 weeks ago, it's been a little different. He has only 44.
Here's a great illustration. They talk, the Green Bay Packers talk about roll call to the ball, which means they're all going to be accounted for. They want everybody around that ball carrier at the point of attack here on the outside. Look at all the white shirts. 1, 2, 3, 4, and about 2 more coming from the inside. Great pursuit. A reverse, some kind of a counter play would be appropriate, and maybe would be a good play for the Lions where they're chasing right now.
Pete has time, but Harris finally gets there.
You know, the other thing that's happening, Pete is not getting the width and the depth that he should as he rolls out. He's stopping a little short, and as a result, it gives the backside a lot quicker angle and a better angle. Watch him now. Look, he doesn't get out as wide as he should. He should begin to the right tackle, but he doesn't get there. Harris comes from the backside and gives him a shot and knocks him down, but he's reducing the width of his roll, and that's been a problem.
So Jim Arnold, the pride of Dalton, Georgia, booms another one. Jeff Query back to the 22. And good coverage by Detroit. Tony Page makes the tackle. A 55-yard punt by Jim Arnold. He has been booming them today.
You know what? As you watched him kick yesterday, he's got terrific drop. The drop is perfect. He gets a good lean. It gets off the floor a little bit when he kicks it. Gets a great follow through. He's really one of the outstanding kickers in the National Football League.
Miami has come back to take the lead over the New York Jets. New Orleans still leading New England. Green Bay 1st and 10 at their own 26. Good protection for Mikowski and a completed pass to Clint Didier, the tight end, at about the 34.5. Nico Noga hit him right away.
Watch Mikowski. When he backs out like he does here, he doesn't turn his shoulder and go back in the pocket. He just backs out there. He's going to throw the ball left. Most of the time, he'll throw the ball left. Here he is. He comes back. That's the tendency of most quarterbacks in the National Football League. When they drop straight back, they invariably are going to throw the ball to the left side.
As opposed to turning and sprinting back. Draw play, Haddix. And another good defensive play by George Jameson, who has played well. We're in the Silver Dome in Pontiac, Michigan. Steve Zabriskie and Hank Stram, and the story of this game can be told in two halves, Henry. Detroit had the field position and capitalized on turnovers in the first. Here in the third quarter with 2:28 remaining, Green Bay has had the field position and capitalized on a couple of turnovers.
And that's why you got to remember, that's why they play 4 quarters. And invariably people, they see their team is down by 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns. They think the bubbles are going to start coming up there in the tank. It's a long way from being over. You got to have the faith. You got to realize this thing could flip-flop, and it has in this game so far.
Just about an inch to go, and it'll bring up 3rd down and 1. A reminder, this is just the first of 2 that you'll see here on CBS today. The New York Giants are in Anaheim to take on the Rams, so that'll be game 2 of our NFL doubleheader here on CBS coming up next. The Giants at the Rams. 3rd and an inch. Workman appears to have enough for the first down. Jerry Holmes up there to meet him, but not soon enough.
You got a lot of folks inside talking about Detroit. They have to get outside some way to put a little bit more pressure on the defense.
So it's 1st down, Green Bay. Clock running with about 1:40 left to go in the third quarter.
And Green Bay, the way Detroit is chasing, a reverse would be very, very good, or some kind of a counter play to the outside.
Both defenses pursuing heavily. Draw play. Haddix pulled down by Noga as he gets a few out to about the 41. Victor Jones, linebacker, has an injured foot. That's really the reason Nico Noga is in there now on a regular basis. And that is as wrapped in ice as you can probably get it. I don't know what hurts more, the injury or having to sit there for an hour with ice on it.
Well, physically is the injury, and mentally is sitting there watching your pals play.
Final moments of the third quarter. Mikowski has it tipped, but it was almost caught by Aubrey Matthews. 41 seconds remaining in the quarter. Mikowski's nickname, Hank, as you know, is Magic Man, because when he first came out of Virginia, the fans thought it was Magikowski because the J is not pronounced. And he has had a little magic going for him late in ball games, and he's trying to do it again here.
It's very obvious that the people who were calling him that were not Polish.
And he's Polish on both sides of the family and proud of it. 3rd down. Complete to Jeff Query for a first down. Another big play for Green Bay and a gain of 10. There is a penalty flag on the far side of the field in the defensive backfield. So Ben Dreif will go over and find out what the story is. Doyle Jackson, the side judge, called the penalty. And it is against Green Bay. So it'll wipe out the first down play. That's only the second Green Bay penalty of this game. Both have been on the offensive unit.
Offensive holding number 84. That's a 10-yard penalty.
Now, where are they going to mark it from? Because it's on Sterling Sharp, the wide receiver. And where did it take place? The flag was way upfield. Hank, the flag was about the 42 of Detroit. So marking it from the spot of the foul is going to be a big call here.
Pass play, because the ball's dead there. We have to go to the line of scrimmage, but the offensive hold is way down the field. We still go to the line of scrimmage back 10 yards.
Well, that answers that. One thing about Ben Dreif, he's going to tell you exactly what the situation is. But I don't understand that, and neither does Infante or Sharp.
Well, I guarantee you the way Ben says it doesn't make any difference whether it's right or wrong. The way he says it, you believe what he says.
I see Lindy's going to ask the head linesman, Tom Barnes, about it, because holding is supposed to be marked from the spot of the infraction. Now, and Ben Dreif said that the holding was way upfield, but we're still going to do it from the line of scrimmage. Each of the line officials, the head linesman and the line judge, have talked to each of the coaches, and they're reporting back now to Dreif. Lindy's body language, and for our lip reading viewers, tells it all. Frustration.
Well, he's too busy. He's got to worry about the next play. He's got to check that chart.
3rd down and 17. Final play of the 3rd quarter. Mikowski has time and dumps it off incomplete, intended for Matthews. Michael Colford just got there to cause a problem as the 3rd quarter ends. And the Packers will give it up as Detroit holds with help from a penalty. The end of the 3rd quarter with the score: Detroit 24 and Green Bay 17. Now a word from your local station. Don Bracken on to punt for Green Bay as we start the 4th quarter. Steve Zabriskie and Hank Stram with you at the Pontiac Silverdome. Walter Stanley back to receive it as Detroit leads 24-17. Bracken hangs it high. Stanley at the 29. Quick move, getting outside. Bracken, the punter, can't get him. Fumble. Johnny Holland picked it out of midair, but was Stanley down? No, it's Green Bay's football. Johnny Holland picked it out of the air, but did he get both feet in bounds? One official says it belongs to Green Bay.
Look at the great move that Stanley makes here. He starts to the outside, stops, comes back into the middle, back out to the outside, and he gets some running room, and he's lightning, makes a good. Now the punter tries to make the tackle, but misses. He gets hit from the backside, knocks the ball loose, and watch Holland catch it like it's a lateral pass, and now it's Green Bay ball, 1st and 10.
Herman Fontenot and Brian Noble making the hits, and Johnny Holland picking it off in midair. So Green Bay with another break after Walter Stanley with an exciting return, had gotten the ball deep into Green Bay territory. We see your sign, and Barry Sanders hasn't done much today. The Packers still trail, however, but they have it 1st and 10 at their own 36. McCaskey incomplete, intended for Matthews. It was thrown behind. So it'll be 2nd and 10. Let's go to New York. Well, we'll wait to go to New York and an update from Brent because we have a penalty on the play. And it is against Detroit.
Number 54 on the defense. Late hit on the head of the quarterback. That's 15. That's
Chris Spielman, the penalty. So now let's go to Brent Musburger for an update.
All right, Steve, we want to update you now on the Minnesota Vikings. Tampa Bay had closed to within 7. Vikings very impressively went the length of the field. Herschel Walker for the touchdown. 4:03 to go, 24-10. Back to Steve.
Thanks, Brent. The Vikings appear to be in command, in control. Barry Sanders, who always sits on the bench, no matter what's going on, Sanders rests those valuable legs, thinks a lot about what's going on. He has not been a big factor in the game, but he hasn't broken his routine. One thing about it, he's not stoic when you give him the football. But Green Bay has the football now, 1st and 10 at the 48 of Detroit. Incomplete, intended for Didier. It'll be 2nd and 10.
And that was a good read on the part of McCaskey on the play. Look at here again. He can step and throw. Crossing pattern by the tight end Didier. Is thrown out in front a little bit. He cannot hold on to it. Looked like he might hold on to the back point of the ball, but it slipped out of there. Falls incomplete.
After a very hot 3rd quarter, Don Majkowski has missed on his last 4 passes. This one's complete. Matthews and a 1st down. Terry Taylor bumped him out of bounds. They'll mark it near the 35 of Detroit.
You think it's easy to be a quarterback? Look at this. Back in the pocket, steps and throw, and there he gets the shot. Right about the time he delivers the ball, threw it perfectly, just perfectly on the outside, right before he was going to get a shot. Right in the shoulder pads.
And it was Spielman who gave him the shot, and Spielman was just called for a penalty earlier for doing that, only it was a higher hit. Majkowski throws it over the head of Fontenot. It was Taylor who had the coverage on that side. So again, it's 2nd and 10. It looks like he's hurt his hand a little bit.
He had no chance whatsoever. Look at it. You got to throw over the top of the rusher, and hurt his hand. It looked like Jerry Ball again, 93, getting the penetration. It looked like he hurt his hand on a follow through. Might have hit his helmet.
That can happen often, and Majkowski trying to shake it off. Sometimes you hit your forearm or your elbow, and then your fingers go numb for a little while, too. Can't feel the ball. 2nd and 10. Detroit 35. Complete to Fontenot and bumped out of bounds near another 1st down. And again, it was Terry Taylor who's getting all the work in the Detroit secondary.
He's really getting a lot of business, and of course, see that it's just amazing what a big difference it is when he's got time to throw the ball, can step, follow through, and has got plenty of room to throw. That was right on the money. Another beautiful throw by Majkowski.
Another difference from the 1st half, Hank. They were not giving him time. Now Green Bay doing a much better job of picking up the Detroit rushers. 3rd down and about a half yard to go at the Detroit 25. Workman, very close. Good 2nd effort. Nico Noga hit him first, and that would have stopped him short, but he was able to fall forward.
I think he made the 1st down. But they'll measure it. Let's see what happens.
William White finally brought him down. And they'll bring the chains on again. 14:09 left to go in the ball game. Detroit leading 24-17. They owned the first half, and the Packers have at least signed a lease on the second half. First down. This is after the play, and look at Mikowski shake that hand again.
Yeah, it had to bother him a little bit. It all depends whether it hit him on the back of the hand or whether it hit the finger. Sometimes, you know, you jam the finger, you really got a problem. Evidently, it didn't do that, and he's all right. Maybe just a little pain in the backside of his hand.
If his fingers, particularly the last two fingers on his hand, should start to swell up, it could be a problem. Green Bay with 12 first downs in the second half. Detroit none. Mikowski throws incomplete behind Sterling Sharp. Gary Ball was scrambling trying to get to his feet. Mikowski's feet, that is. And again, it's 2nd and 10. The Packers have had an incompleted pass on every first down this drive. And there you see the two backup quarterbacks. Blair Keel is number 10, and number 8 is Anthony Delwig. Delwig, a rookie out of Duke, and they both signal. One of them, of course, is signaling in dummy plays, and the other had a real play. Sometimes coaches are accused of calling dummy plays for real.
You're not accusing one of them being a dummy, are you?
Complete to Haddix. And he steps out of bounds after a short gain down to about the 23. Jimmy Williams bumped him out. Jerry Ball again had pressure on Mikowski as he's getting close, but not quite there.
Jerry Ball said he paints a cross over his heart before every game for protection. I wonder how many gallons of ink that marking pencil needs.
He uses one marking pen per game.
That's right.
He is a big dude. Now he also told us he puts his wife's and his daughter's initials along with that. And he does that for protection for himself and for his family. Incomplete and almost intercepted.
I got a little news for you. Mikowski ought to put one on his over his heart so he get a little protection.
Yeah, because when you got 300 pounds coming after you play after play after play, you need all the protection you can get.
He reminds me a little bit of our great noseman Curly Culp. Remember Curly? He was built a little bit the same way.
Was he ever 300 pounds?
I think he was during the off season. He'd get pumped up pretty good, and then he let some air out of the balloon when he got back to camp.
Jackie with a 40-yard field goal attempt. And that style of his to punch that ball with a short leg kick drives it right through there. The Packers get something and make it a 4-point game with 13:25 left to play. Sometimes statistics do not tell the whole story of a game. In this game, however, these statistics are a very telling story. When you add to that the fact, along with the yardage and the turnovers and the first and second half difference, the fact that Green Bay has had 12 first downs to Detroit's none here in the second half, that tells it all. Jackie, who kicked the 40-yard field goal, kicks it off and deep into the end zone. It will not be returned by Bruce Alexander. So Rodney Peete, who has struggled here in the second half and really hasn't had a big day at all, will bring the offense back on, and they'll try to get something going.
Well, it's going to be interesting to watch him on this drive, because what happened in the second half. He really hasn't been going as wide as he should on the rollout, nor as deep as he should, or as fast as he should. And so he's reducing that area and making it easier for the backside to put pressure on him and make plays.
And Tim Harris and the guys have been getting there on occasion. First and 10 from the 20. Sanders cutting it back. Sanders runs a long way to get 4 or 5. Scott Stephen tripped him up.
You don't think they're keen on him, do you, Steve?
I think about only 10 of 11 guys, probably. whenever he gets the ball, he has a lot of friends around.
Well, it's a good approach because he's the key, and they're stopping him and making the young quarterback throw the ball, and he's had a hard time in this second half.
Second and about 5, batted down. Scott Stephen with another big play as he went up and got a hand on it and rejected it.
Now as he rolls out, watch the tackle. When he rolls out and going to throw short, that left tackle, Brown, has to block a little lower to get the hands down. He blocked him very high. The hands went up and he knocked the ball down. That was the problem, and that was the key to the lack of success on the play and the success of the defense on the play.
And Detroit's defense continuing to make the big play. 3rd down and 5. Pete has time. Harris gets there, knocks it loose. Still loose. And Detroit retains possession. Each team had a couple of chances to come up with the ball. It looked like Lomas Brown, number 75 for Detroit, finally fell on it.
Now watch Rodney Peete. He's almost directly behind where he was when he started. Didn't get much of a roll at all. Doesn't know where to throw the ball. Finally gets hit from the outside. The ball falls loose, pops out of there. But Detroit now recover the fumble, and they have to kick.
So Arnold comes on, and Jeff Query is back deep for Green Bay. Arnold drives this one, and Query takes it at the 39. Turns on the speed and gets up to about the 48. Before he's dropped by Toby Caston. And again, it's Green Bay that will enjoy the good field position. Only a 39-yard punt by Arnold and an 8-yard return. A look at the scoring by quarters tells the story of the game as well, as Green Bay managed only a field goal the first half, and they've scored 17 here in the second half. 11:51 to go in the game. Now Green Bay just trails by 4. 1st and 10 from the 48. Mikowski swings it out to Haddix. Fumble, and Detroit recovers. Spielman has it, and he can run down to the 41. It looked like Jerry Holmes made the hit that knocked the ball loose, Hank.
He throws a screen out here to the left to Haddix. They miss a block downfield. And the ball pops loose out of there. And here we see the return with Spielman, 54. Is he determined to make yardage? Watch him spike the ball. He's checking the air pressure in the ball here.
Intensity is his middle name. He told us yesterday he really has a dual personality.
There's no penalty.
So an
players looking at the play.
An inadvertent flag, but the play is being reviewed. The flag was picked up. There was no penalty, according to Ben Dry. Spielman telling us yesterday he really has a dual personality. And talking to him, Hank, he's very quiet off the field, but he's very animated on the field.
Here's a shot of it again. But what happens is the key there is the fact that he's got the ball in the wrong arm. He's got the ball in the right arm with all the pressure coming from the inside, and they knocked it out of there. That's what created the fumble.
And the ball did come out before he went down. So the play reviewed, but it stands, and Sanders has it. Sanders with a first down. Run out of bounds by Johnny Holland and Mark Lee at the 31.
You know, Steve, it's amazing. In the first half, Green Bay had to go 78 yards on every drive, and Detroit had to go 51. So far in this game, it's totally reversed. Now Green Bay has only had to go 58, And Detroit, to the exception of this last drive, has to go 81. So there the flip-flop was, and that's what made the difference in this contest.
Blaze Winter having a problem with his left ankle or knee, and hardly put any weight on it at all as he was shaken up on that play, the run by Barry Sanders. He is not the first nor the last defender that Barry Sanders will turn around. So Blaze being helped off, and the Chicago Bears have shut out the Pittsburgh Steelers 20-0, trying to keep pace with the Minnesota Vikings, who are playing Tampa Bay today and leading, as Brent showed you in the update recently, 24-10 in the fourth quarter over the Buccaneers. So now with Chicago winning their game, they are 6-4. Green Bay trying to come back here and keep pace. If Minnesota holds on and beats Tampa Bay, they will be 7-3 on the year, and they will maintain that margin over Chicago. Blaze walking it off, now jogging it off. So apparently a sprained ankle. The Lions' first down since the second quarter. Sanders again. Sanders inside the 30 to the 27. We're at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. Just over 44,000 on hand here today. Steve Zabriskie and Hank Stram, and the NFL on CBS. And what was a runaway in the first half by Detroit, Hank's turned into a pretty darn good game.
It really has been very exciting in the second half. It was exciting for Detroit in the first. Now it's exciting for Green Bay in the second. Now Detroit has good field position. They have to do something here with this on this drive.
Sanders has it again. Nowhere to go. He runs right into Robert Brown and Mark Murphy. Sanders with about 62 yards rushing on the day so far. This game now final as the Vikings have defeated Tampa Bay 24-10. So the top two positions remaining the same in the NFC Central. Minnesota now moving to 7-3, and again Green Bay in danger of falling another game behind if they cannot come back and win. With Detroit leading here 24-20. 10 minutes to go in the game. Sanders with a juggling catch inside the 5. Ron Pitts made the initial hit, and Mark Lee helped him, a 20-yard gain.
Here he goes to the right side. Now look at the roll, much wider, much deeper, much better. Got better vision, still threw the ball. It was a fantastic catch by Barry Sanders. He's hard to tackle in the open field one-on-one. They finally get him down on about the 5-yard line.
Lions have a chance to really put the game out in front. Sanders again. Short of the goal line as he gets to the 1.
Sanders, like all great backs, have great vision. Instinctively, they know where to make the breaks. They anticipate the cuts. They anticipate the blocking angles. And that was some of the greatest runs he makes is 5, 6, 7, 8 yards.
That's right, and that's in keeping with great running backs. I found it interesting, Hank, in talking to him yesterday when he told us he needs about 15 carries to get going and get into the flow. And he's just getting to that point now here in the fourth quarter, getting it rolling.
Well, I asked him that question yesterday and mentioned the fact that I've asked every great back in the National Football League the same question. Walter Payton, Dickerson, all the great players, and they all say the same thing with the exception of Payton. They all say they have to carry the ball 12 to 15 times to get in the flow of the game, and that's why they're much, much better in the fourth quarter than they are in the first.
Green Bay calling a timeout to the delight of the Detroit fans with a 2nd down and goal just outside the 1. And a reminder that next Saturday here on CBS, it's college football, and #1 ranked Notre Dame will be up in the Happy Valley area of Pennsylvania to take on the Nittany Lions of Penn State. That'll begin at 2:30 Eastern Time. CFA college football here on CBS next Saturday. Second down and goal.
Now they got their bull offense in there. They got Jerry Ball on the as a tight end on the left side, 93.
This is the jumbo offense. Tony Page in there. And they run away from it with the option to Sanders. Touchdown.
They usually run this option play away from the triple wing. This time they had a double tight situation and broke the tendency and got out there clean as a whistle. And Sanders goes in for the touchdown. You talk about destroying the keys and the tendencies they've established coming into the game. That's exactly what they did with that option play.
Eddie Murray adds the extra point. 8:34 left to play in the game. Just when Green Bay was coming back, a turnover jumped up and bit him again, and Detroit has made them pay.
With that touchdown, another 7.
Barry Sanders has become a force in this game in the fourth quarter. Green Bay back to an 11-point advantage with 8:34 to play, and Eddie Murray to kick off after Sanders' 1-yard touchdown run. Drive hard to handle. Vince Workman bobbles it but picks it up to the 20. Because of the turnover and Johnny Holland picking the fumble out of the air, it was a short 41-yard scoring drive, and it took 3 minutes for Sanders to run it in. Let's go back and look at the play, and Hank, as is usually the case, you can almost always find a possible holding on a play.
Watch the holding. Medic, who's the tight end, look at him grabbing the shirt on number 54, Scott Stevens, but it wasn't detected. Green Bay sees that, they're going to squeak a little bit.
First and 10, Green Bay. Now their job a little bigger with less time. Lots of time for Mikowski, and he completes it to Haddix to the 29. Chris Spielman made the tackle. And again, they're getting to Mikowski, but a little late.
Here we see Mikowski just going right back in the pocket, standing there, doesn't step and throw, and after he got rid of the ball, he got a shot. It looked like that could have been a late hit because the ball was gone when he got the hit.
Had they hit him up around the shoulders or the head, it probably would have been a penalty. Second and short. Mikowski with all day now runs out of time. Incomplete. Almost intercepted by George Jameson. It was intended for Sterling Sharp.
You have to give a lot of credit to the Detroit defensive backs that time. They covered extremely well, and Mikowski was trying to figure out where to throw the ball. He had plenty of time, but nobody was open.
Well, the Detroit defense has played very well all day long. Green Bay has had very few sustained drives. They've been able to score in the second half by the same method that Detroit used in the first half, field position and turnover. And Mikowski having to burn a timeout.
He's upset. Looked like they were in the wrong formation. The backs didn't go where they were supposed to go, and he was forced to call a timeout.
And when you are down by 11 in the fourth quarter, the last thing you want to do is burn a timeout unnecessarily.
Well, the worst thing worse than that is to call a play and not have the guys in the right position and then blow the ball. So you're better off with the timeout.
That's right. That's right. And if you can see where he would be frustrated, Hank, because this is deep into the season. It's not like, you know, it's the first game or two when guys may not be quite sure. A reminder, up next, doubleheader action here on CBS. The New York Giants, LT and company, at Los Angeles. Anaheim, to be more precise, to take on the Los Angeles Rams. And that should be a major game, a victory much needed by both teams, as the Giants lead the NFC East and the Rams are on the skids. From the 29, it is 3rd down and about 2. 1.5 to go. Play action. Mikowski has the first down and gets out of bounds.
That's a pretty good call because they're bunched in there so tight. They're not worried about anybody going outside. And somebody has to do it on occasions. And Mikowski did it on the short yardage situation. Had plenty of room to spare and a lot of running room on the play. The way both teams are chasing, it looks like a reverse of some kind would be extremely successful.
Well, you've been saying that now for 3 quarters, and we haven't seen one from either team yet.
Yeah, and the way they're running and chasing after that ball, it looks like it would be beautiful.
And that ball you just saw, Jerry Ball's been doing a lot of the run and chasing. 1st and 10, Green Bay. Haddix breaks a couple of tackles and gets out to about the 43. Chris Spielman again makes the stop for Detroit. Clock running with 7:15 to go in the game. Detroit leads by 11. 31-20. Second down. Mikowski grabbed as he released the ball. Incomplete. And he may be hurt on the play. He wound up firing the ball into the ground. And he is in pain. Anthony Dilweg hurriedly begins to warm up.
And he's holding his knee, his right knee. So he had the right foot anchored, and as it was anchored, he got hit.
It was Eric Williams who was almost crawling along the ground and grabbed him by the right calf. So he could have gotten his knee twisted in the course of throwing the pass. Dilweg, the rookie out of Duke. He's got a little heritage in Green Bay. His grandfather was on Green Bay's first 3 championship teams in 1929, 30, and 31. So maybe that had something to do with why they drafted him. Although I seriously doubt it.
But that's not going to help him move this team.
No. Mikowski with 300 yards again today, completing 30 of 50. Whether or not he can continue still remains to be seen, but he's getting up. Tonight on CBS later after the second half of our NFL doubleheader, it'll be 60 minutes, kicking off the Sunday night lineup as usual, followed by Murder, She Wrote, and Dennis Weaver starring in the return of Sam McLeod. That's all tonight, later right here on CBS. Well, that's a good sign. Mikowski walking fairly normally.
Yeah, he's walking pretty gingerly, very frankly, the way he looked lying there on the ground.
Earlier today, if you were with us, a very good profile on Don Mikowski on the NFL Today, talking about part of his personal life, his guitar playing and such. So Dilweg comes in on 3rd down and 4 in a critical situation, pulled off the bench out of the shotgun. Over the middle and completing it. Sterling Sharp has enough for the first down at the 49. Griffin and Crockett make the stop.
It's really terrific to see a young quarterback come in like that under those circumstances. And the first play is a pass. Shows a lot of poise. A lot of time to throw the ball. Puts it right on the money, right at the numbers. A beautiful shot by Dillwig. He's got to feel good about that first one. And of course, a young quarterback coming into a game like this one completes the first one. Gives him an awful lot of confidence.
Murkowski trying to walk it off. Sharp with his 6th reception of the game. Haddix thrown down by Spielman. But Haddix picks up a few to the Detroit 47.5. 6 minutes left to play in the game.
A draw play in 54. Spielman comes over there, reading the play well. Here you're coming from the backside and gets a good shot with no interference. Nobody tries to block him. He gets a good shot and nails him right there on a good tackle.
Spielman's 10th tackle of the game. And Murkowski is back in there after Dillwig played 2 plays. 2nd down and 7. Haddix splits a couple of defenders. He'll be about a yard short of the first down. Spielman and Williams, the 2 defenders. There is a flag down. And we have a call against Green Bay for interference.
Number 33 on the offense. That's offensive pass interference, blocking downfield. That's a 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
So Keith Woodside, the offender. Haddix caught the ball on the other side of the field, 50 yards away. And a penalty wipes out the gain and moves the ball back almost to the Green Bay 42. Minnesota and Chicago both winning handily today in the NFC Central. Miami came back against the Jets. New Orleans trying to hold on against New England. Spielman out of there on 2nd down and long. 2nd and 17. Murkowski leads Fontenot too far. And it'll be 3rd down and 17. Just under 5 minutes left in the game with Green Bay trailing Detroit by 11.
What we see here, you know, is a great illustration of how important it is and how good it is for coaches to call the plays from the sideline. Because, you know, a lot of times if you're that far behind and the quarterback calls the plays, he tries to get everything back too quickly. He doesn't have the patience. Whereas the coach knows what the plan is. They follow the plan and methodically get back in the ball game. And that's what both coaches have done here this afternoon.
Especially critical when you have young quarterbacks as these 2 teams have. Murkowski stepping up, firing, and completing it. Carl Bland with a 1st down at the 35 of Detroit. Griffin made the stop. A 22-yard gain on 3rd and 17.
Bland 83 again. Look at Murkowski step away into the seam where he can get the alley to throw the ball. Bland makes the catch and wiggles his way up for about 3 extra yards of the play.
Murkowski over the middle, incomplete and almost intercepted. It was intended for Jeff Query, and Benny Blades almost got to it.
And Crockett gave him a good shot right about the time the ball was there. Really a good hit.
And another penalty called away from the ball. Ben Dreith really giving Benny Blades a piece of his mind.
And I guarantee you one thing, he'll throw him out of the game in a second.
Yep. Ben does not take any lip from anybody.
He'll give him the traveling music in a hurry, I'll guarantee it.
Illegal procedure against Detroit. There's a penalty you do not see very often. Illegal procedure against the defensive
12
team.
men on the defense. That's a 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
So even though the pass was incomplete, the Lions had 12 men on the field.
Well, that's a good defense if they don't catch it.
Early in the second game of our doubleheader, the Rams kick the field goal, Mike Lansford, and lead the Giants 3-0. So that game is underway, and we'll be taking you to Anaheim Stadium as soon as this game is over for that second game of our doubleheader, New York Giants and Los Angeles Rams. This is the 9th play of this Green Bay drive. It is 1st down and 5 at the 30. Herman Fontenot, 1st down to the 20. A 10-yard gain. Jimmy Williams and William White on the tackle.
And there again, a good read on the part of the quarterback, but there's a penalty on the play, evidently.
Yep. Thrown again well away from the ball. A penalty against Green Bay.
Offense, number 73, grabbed by the face mask. That's a holding penalty, 10 yards, and it's 1st down.
Alan Weingrad, the offensive tackle who plays in front of Tony Mandarich, called for grabbing the face mask and holding.
The officials are moving the ball better than the players, aren't they?
Ben Dreit's getting his walking in anyway, pacing off back and forth.
He's emotionally involved in this game, too. Did you see his facial expression when he called those penalties? Looks like he's ready to play.
I'll tell you what, he takes charge. There's no question about that. And the officials really need to, because in a rivalry game like this, I mean, when it's close, it can really get out of hand in a hurry.
It was funny before the game. I called him aside and kind of whispered, I said, listen, I'm going to give you a little advice. You really ought to be more definitive on the field, more assertive. He was close by and listened.
He obviously took it. Not that he needed it.
Just kidding.
Query cutting it upfield and getting to about the 33 before he's pulled down. 4 minutes now remaining in the game. Detroit continues to lead by 11. Michael Kofer, who was down earlier in the game and has been playing with a sore shoulder and an injured arch on his left foot, is down for the 2nd time.
It's a marvel that he's played as much as he has here this afternoon and had played as well as he did.
That stops the clock with 3:56 remaining in the game, and it'll be 2nd down and about 7 for Green Bay. While we have a moment, we'll tell you who makes all this possible. The coordinating producer of the NFL on CBS is Charles H. Milton III. Today's game was produced by Daniel H. Forer. Today's game was directed by Andy J. Kendall. And the executive producer of CBS Sports is Ted, no middle initial, Shaker. Kofer's still down, so he must have really taken a shot. You know, Hank, after the success that Green Bay has had after a dismal season last year, of course, there's a lot of season left. Detroit and Green Bay both availed themselves of the Plan B free agents, perhaps more than any other teams in the NFL. You think that maybe if Green Bay goes on and has a successful season with all the Plan B guys they have, more teams will participate next year trying to better themselves.
Oh, sure. And of course, it all depends on how the people, who the people are.
Right. What that team needs.
What the needs are. Sure. I thought Green Bay did an excellent job of taking advantage of that plan. And their gamble has really paid off. No question about that.
Wayne Fontes also picked up a number of Plan B guys, and he's out there checking out Michael Kofer personally now.
It was interesting to talk to Wayne. You know, I've known him for a long time, and he was on the coaching staff of John McKay, and he was always well dressed and sharp and
following your lead.
Not my lead. Oh. Fancy shoes and a big dizzy stick, meaning a cigar. And I looked at him yesterday, and he looked kind of rumpled and tired. And I said, "What happened to all the goodies you used to have?" He said, "I'm not interested anymore. Now that I'm a head coach, that doesn't concern me anymore." He said, "I'm just happy to be where I am, and all I do now is coach and go home, and that's the extent of it. Maybe if I were 8-1, I'd be out walking a dog a little bit, but I'm hiding now."
If he ever gets to 8-1, he might change. Be interesting to see. Kofer finally up. He was down for a long time. Well, we showed you a couple of scores from the AFC Eastern Division, and this is now final. Miami coming back to beat the Jets. Buffalo beating Indianapolis rather handily today. And it's a final as New Orleans holds on to beat New England by 4. So in the NFC East, Buffalo still on top. Miami. Indianapolis drops to below 500. And New England and the Jets bringing up the rear as the Jets played better today, apparently.
Well, Miami has done a terrific job of coming back from that bad start that they had.
Complete for another first down for Green Bay down to the 21. And the Packers have really overcome the penalties that have stopped him as he hits Carl Bland and they go without the huddle. Less than 3.5 minutes remaining. Detroit leading by 11. Again, it's complete at the 15-yard line. Query thrown down rather rudely. Ray Crockett and Jimmy Williams there. And the clock restarted, so Green Bay will go without the huddle again. It'll be second down, about 4. McCaskey will run it up the middle. Slides down at the 9 and has enough for another Green Bay first down. Jerry Holmes on the stop, and now he's going to call timeout. Ran about 10 seconds off the clock between the time he went down and got the timeout call.
In the shotgun, steps up. See, anytime he sees some space in the middle area, he's going to take off and go with it. He's smart enough to know that he's got to slide before he gets another bad shot. I'm amazed how well he's running with that knee evidently bruised like it was a little earlier. It'll probably be sore tomorrow.
Yeah. I think there'll be a few other parts of his body that'll be sore tomorrow after the shots he's taken from Jerry Ball and the guys.
Including his arm, as many passes as he's thrown here this afternoon.
55 pass attempts. And that is a new team record for the Packers for attempts in a game. Kowski has attempted 55, completed 34. And again, as he has been the last 2 years in every game against the Lions, over 300 yards. We mentioned earlier about how Mikowski was talking to us about his Polish heritage and his heritage on both sides of his family. He's not the first successful Polish rifle, shall we call him. Ron Jaworski led the league back in 1980. Steve Bartkowski in '83 led the league. And in the NFC anyway. And Mikowski leads the entire NFL this year in passing.
How about Zabriskie? That's not Polish, is it?
With my arm, I couldn't get it from here to you.
You have a hard time combing your hair.
Tipped away at the last second, intended for Herman Fontenot. Jimmy Williams got in front of it. 2:37 remaining in the game.
They like to throw to Fontenot in this kind of a situation. Escaping to the right side. And look at the thing, right on the money. But right about the time, it looks like he's going to get the catch. They come across there and hit him. And, of course, the ball bounces out of there, and it falls incomplete.
Good effort by Williams. This is the 15th play of this drive. Green Bay, down by 11, needs 2 scores. Into the end zone, incomplete, intended for Jeff Query. Rookie Ray Crockett right there to tip it away.
Crockett's played a very good game, number 39, throughout this contest, and here we see him again in the end zone. They throw the ball up on top, and there's Crockett right there with the receiver, covered him extremely well, and knocks the ball down and falls incomplete. Great timing and great reaction on the play.
It is 3rd down and goal from the 9.5. Mikowski to run again down to the 5. He's hauled down by Kevin Brooks. Clock continuing to run, so Mikowski now on 4th and goal. This is the ball game right here. Incomplete, intended for Query. The Detroit Lions, after a long drive, turn away Green Bay.
Plenty of time, and he rifles the ball. Really, the ball should have been caught. No reason that ball shouldn't have been caught. There was enough room for him to make the catch.
McCaskey consoling Query, and you saw the reaction of Wayne Fonts, who went to his knees in relief. So 2:08 remaining in the game, and the Lions get the ball back with an 11-point lead. Rodney Peete with Trevor Matich moving to the right tight end position. The jumbo offense, and they have Peete. Is it a safety? No. Ben Bright says it's outside the goal line. Bob Nelson broke through there.
Number 79, look at that. He gets the penetration, comes across and knocks the ball loose from Peete. And that's a good call. They marked the ball where the ball was, and it didn't go into the end zone.
And the 2-minute warning arrives. So Detroit on their own goal line, literally, but with an 11-point lead. That would final 2 minutes from the Pontiac Silverdome, and Detroit, although they are literally lined up on their own goal line, able to stop Green Bay after a rather lengthy desperation drive and hold on with their 11-point lead. But they've got to get the ball out of here, I think. Peete on the sneak doesn't get far.
And the other thing that's very important, they have to get it out of there so they can get back in their normal kicking position. I think without a doubt, if they have to kick the ball, they'll give them a safety. That's a smart thing to do.
Well, you know, they could have conceded the safety on the play by the play on Rodney Peete.
The only problem with that, there would have been a lot more time left on the clock. This way, they're going to take as much time off the clock as they possibly can. And if they have to kick, I think without a doubt, they should give them a safety.
That way they can bring it out to the 20. It's still a 9-point lead. They still need 2 scores, and they can boom it out of there. And with Arnold, when you give him some room and some time, he can kick it a long way. Trying to bang it out again. Now down to just about a minute remaining, and it's going to be 4th down. Carl Bland expressing the frustration that Green Bay feels they found themselves behind early, and their own mistakes played a big part in it. Then Detroit started making mistakes in the second half. They were able to come back.
The fumble over here at about the 45-yard line is what killed them. Talking about Green Bay, they had it going. The momentum was changing. They had control of the game. The fumble over here on the left sideline has made the difference.
And Detroit is holding on. And Wayne Fonts and company's they have been involved in a number of games like this year where they have been on mostly the other side of the fence. And many of their 8 losses, they have been late losses by few points. Again, we'll update you from Anaheim Stadium in Southern California. It's now 10-0 Los Angeles as the Rams have added a touchdown. And right after this game, we'll be taking you there for game 2 of the doubleheader, the Giants and the Rams. Rodney Peete and the Lions letting the clock run down. There are 6 seconds remaining on the 45-second clock. They're going to let it run out. Take to half the distance penalty, delay of game, running the game clock down to 12 seconds. And that'll move the ball back to the 1-yard line. So now the 30-second clock begins. But the game clock is not going to start until the ball is snapped. Unless, of course, they don't do anything with it. Now, they're not going to try to punt on 4th down. They've got Pete in there at the 1-yard line, and somebody moved early. They've come close to 3 or 4 fights today. Kevin Glover apparently had the football. The center, number 53, and penalty flags are down.
Defense come over and made contact. That's a 5-yard penalty and still 4th down.
Well, that's what the Lions were hoping for.
Exactly. Jerry Boyarski was involved in the play.
Now you see Boyarski just fall into the center. Boyarski may have thought he detected movement on the part of the ball by Kevin Glover, but now on 4th down, Pete is going to take the intentional safety, running out of the back end of the end zone.
That's it, boys. That's what they should do. That was a good call.
Now they have 6 seconds left. They'll get a free kick from the 20, and it makes the score now 31-22. And Tim Harris and Rodney Peete can laugh about it because nobody got hurt. So Arnold will come on, and Detroit will win their 2nd game of the year. They again were able to put the points on the board. In fact, they almost doubled their per game output today, and I guess the run and shoot is starting to work a little better, but they certainly got a lot of help from the Packers as well.
Well, it works a lot better when they get good field position. That was really the key. I hate to keep talking about that, but that was really the key. That's when they really moved the ball very, very well. All the other times they didn't do much at all offensively.
Well, both defenses did play well. There's no question about that. And the Detroit defense made it a long day for the Packers, even though Mikowski again had over 300 yards passing. Some of those to 83 Carl Bland.
And look at the Packers. They have 6 penalties, 4 turnovers, 1 missed field goal, and 4 drop passes. And then finally touched on that before the game, and some of those things that he was concerned about happened here this afternoon.
The Packers will fall back to 500 at 5-5. The Detroit Lions move to 2-8. The Lions only producing 128 yards of offense, but 31 points. And so Jim Arnold will get the free kick from the 20 following the intentional safety. Ron Pitts and Jeff Query are back to receive for Green Bay. It's a high, short kick and wobbly off the side of his foot, but it gets a good roll. And it'll be a penalty as it goes out of bounds on the free kick at about the 32. Even though he punted the ball, it's still a free kick, and therefore there's a penalty if the ball goes out of bounds. I wonder what's going through the mind of Willie Pete.
35 yards from the 20-yard line.
He's concerned about losing a game. That's what he's thinking about.
Son Rodney did not have a big day today. But Wayne Fonts and the Lions feel that he is making progress every week in this offense. So they will spot the ball on the penalty for the free kick going out of bounds. 6 seconds remain on the clock because the ball was not touched by a receiving team member. And they put it right at midfield.
30 yards before they kick the ball. It's on a 50-yard line.
The reason they do that is when they kick off normally from the 35, they would mark it at the other 35, and here from the 20, it would be 15 yards further up the field, which means the 50.
Here's the old Big Ben play coming up on the right side.
3 wideouts to the right, 1 to the left. Mikowski going to air it out. Down near the goal line, tip, jump, nobody got it. It falls incomplete as time runs out. That's the end of the game as Detroit holds on, defeating Green Bay 31-22. And so here is how the NFC Central Division standings look.